Press that button like you've never pressed it before. Everyone's good to go, right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yep.
Groovy beans. We're gonna see how many times. I am gonna try to limit the amount of times of apparently. Well, what did I keep saying? This kind of looks like. No, what did I keep saying? It was. Pardon me.
It appears.
Yes, it appears to be. And we're like, is it or is it not?
I wish you the best of luck. I once tried to limit me saying, for lack of a better word, and then I realized,
yeah, that's right. You do say that a lot, but that's okay.
I do. But I realize it's not possible.
Appears to be.
It isn't what it
is.
Well, I mean, to be fair, you also say suffice to say a lot, Inferno.
Oh, I do say suffice to say a lot. I do. But you know what? Let's just start on one word.
Here's the thing about appears to be, though, is that a lot of the time it's the only thing you really can say, because
That's true.
you can't tell the players what something is.
Mm-hmm.
You can only tell them what it appears to be, because they could be wrong, right?
Like it seems like.
Yeah. I say that all the time myself when I'm GMing. Say it appears to be, or it looks like something, because you can't just say it is this, because maybe it's not.
Yeah, I'm checking for traps. It appears to be clear.
Exactly.
Yeah, because if you say there are no traps, you're gonna be like, "Motherfucker, you said there were no traps." And I'm like, "Okay, you're right. I should have said it looks like there are no traps. It appears to be no traps."
The best ones are when you roll badly and they still say, "Yeah." When you roll badly and they go, "It appears to be no trap." You're like, "Well, that's no help."
So we're still in the same place as if I didn't roll.
It's almost worse, because now I know as a player I have to pretend I'm fairly confident there's no traps there, even though as a player I'm pretty sure there are.
True. All right. Rock and roll party time. So when we last left off, you folks were headed to the Shady Pines privately owned graveyard, in which to retrieve a statue from Dorothy Neal, Eugene Neal's now deceased wife. A statue from her, a statue of let me double check. It's supposed to be a statue of a monkey. Unfortunately, definitely unfortunately, it appears that someone. Oh, I've already started. Whatever. Someone has arrived at the. Spiral dies.
I was trying to take a drink.
Rocks fall. Everyone dies.
Came up my nose.
I'm sorry. 3 seconds in. Anyway, someone has arrived. Someone or something has arrived at the graveyard and started these very strange and very grotesque rituals involving disemboweled animals and a guard that seemingly worked at the graveyard. Fighting off these monstrosities, Patrick was wounded pretty bad, but Al was able to use some of his magical gifts to get him back walking again. They came across the tomb of Dorothy Neal, filled with bloody runes and completely sealed from the outside, and the voice of the antagonist warning them to stay away, or their fate's worse than death, and he'll deal with you, right? Are we good to get into the session? Any questions? Anything that you forget from last week? Anything you need a refresher on?
I don't remember what I forgot.
We were distracting him because Squee was going to go invisible and go inside, and then it turned out he couldn't. Was that?
Yes. So, yes, you were distracting him. I turned invisible, and then I kind of walked back and went, oh.
Fuck. I like to think that'd be like, okay, stall him. And they're like, okay. And he turns invisible. He goes to the back of the tomb thinking there'd be like a rear entrance. There's just a wall. And he's like, shit. and this is where we are. Okay. So, once again, the twisted voice inside the pure marble tomb crows out. This is your final warning. Run. I don't mean run away from here. Leave this city. Leave this place and never come back. That is the closest thing you will ever get to mercy.
But why?
Kalisa Kanra Kolis Kolis. He begins to speak in this strange tongue. And at once, the two dead guards that are pried up against either side of the entrance of this tomb begin to slowly start to quiver and shake. As the voice, and I won't keep talking unless, but the voice continues to chant and get louder and more venomous.
Can I just go stab one of these friggin' zombies that are gonna come up?
Sure. You can walk on over.
It's been a recurring theme, so
do you want to go with the left one or the right one? The
right
one on the left seems kind of thin and raggedy, even though he is a corpse. And the other one, similar to the one that you found at the center courtyard of the graveyard, seems to be an older gentleman who's on the plumper side of life. Or was, I guess I could say.
I assume the right one's closer to me because I'm on the right.
Yeah, sure. Yep. Okay, so that's the plumper one, so you head on over. What do you want to stab at him with, and where do you want to stab him?
Just my vibroblade in his gut, whatever's easy.
Okay, yeah, you bet. Well, yeah, his gut's a pretty clear target. So your vibroblade slides out of your arm. You gut him. You pierce all the way through. You can feel the blade nick the spine, and the blood, although not warm, has not completely congealed, and it still flows over your blade. This gentleman looks like he has already been cut several times by the marks on his the marks on his uniform. But your deep is much more vicious and deeper, and you're really tearing into this guy. Anyone else? I give you a chance to act before I let Lavin knows what the deal is, and the rest of you.
I would like to.
I'm gonna move up.
Okay. Sure. Can you not control your token?
I think I can.
No, you
can't.
I can't.
Yeah.
Here, let me. I'll go to everyone so they can control their own tokens.
I can control mine.
Oh, that's good.
I can also control Al's.
Yeah, I know you can. I just simply do it all players because you guys are.
Al teleports inside the building.
No.
Okay. You guys can also move. You asshole. Here I say you have the majority of this, and look at you go. All right. And I'll play. Oh, I'll buy these. That's not going to work.
So is this an accurate size of the tomb?
Yes, it is to scale. It is a very large tomb. When Dorothy Neal passed away, apparently her estate still had plenty of cash.
Al, for now, Al's just going to move up because he was separated from the party. So he's going to move up to the area, but he's going to need to assess everything before he does anything. So that's all he does.
Sure. Sorry. Yeah, you were saying something there, Tom.
I was going to say I was going to do the same to the left one with my swords.
Your swords? Okay, where do you want to stab at the being?
I will try to decapitate with one and vertical the other.
Okay. I want you to roll a hit, but I will need damage. Even though Spyro's Vibroblade is an SDC weapon right now, he has that strength behind it. For you, though, and you're doing something very specific other than just stabbing at him, you want to cut off, go through the neck, the fleshy neck, and down in his body. So tell me which blade is going where, and then roll damage for it.
Black light to the head. What will be the penalty for the neck?
There's no penalty to strike. Like I said, just roll damage.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not moving. Well, it's quivering a little bit, but it's not trying to dodge out your way or anything. It hasn't become animated yet.
All right, then here's the damage for the first one. That's the black light blade.
Holy moly!
Yeah. That's my holy weapon as well.
Black light weapon 2 OP, please nerf GM. No, just kidding. That's good.
Well,
all right.
it's also
How about the other guy?
Weapon, so
Yeah.
And you also made it holy, Inferno. It's your own fault. All right.
And then the fire blade is vertical, and this will be 17 damage.
Okay. All right. Well, the black light in the moonlit graveyard slices through that head like nothing, and the skinny head of the deceased guard plops off to one side, rolling a few times before standing still. You notice that its eyes are not open, nor is it twitching anymore. The body, however, you begin to hack in between the shoulder blades, and you manage to create a very large divot or slash that goes about 3 inches down the torso, but then stops. So you cut it in pretty deep, but you're not able to cleft him as twain as easy as those brittle, animated, ravaging like scorpion skeletons. So. All right,
cool.
So that's almost everyone except for Patrick. Patrick, what do you want to do? If anything.
Patrick looks a little wary and just kind of observing the building.
Okay.
Anything out of the ordinary besides the door full of...
Yes. Looking at the building, you can see the bloody runes that litter all amongst it begin to glow. And there are dozens and dozens and dozens of these. And they begin to pulsate. Not a bright glow, but something turning from like a black slickness to a soft crimson, and then back to the blackness, and then crimson. A slow, sickening pulse. Like the very tomb itself is alive, and you can see its heartbeat coming through these runes. And you also notice, as this being inside of the tomb continues to chant, on every other word, it pulses and moves to the beat as well. And after another moments after Lavin is done slashing his blade, disemboweling the guard on the right, and Tom is hacking away at the dead guard on the left, a final katha can be heard. And then, for a moment, complete and utter stillness. The twitching on the bodies stop. And it is only now that you can feel a cool, chill air push through the graveyard itself, knocking leaves aside. And then the bodies begin to twitch even more. And from the neck hole of the body on the left in front of Tom, and from the ears and nose and open slack mouth on the body on the right, this soft, translucent white vapor begins to spill out from them, begins to hover inches, now feet, above their rotting bodies. Translucent and ethereal. And as these vapors begin to coalesce, you can hear, for the first time, a very feminine scream. A scream filled with anguish and guilt and torment. The scream of perhaps one of the fabled banshees that you may or may not have read about. And it's coming from inside the tomb itself.
Lavin says, see, this is why I don't like magic.
You're goddamn right, says Alicia, a twitch of nervousness in her voice as she racks the rifle one more time. Thank you, YouTuber, for telling me how to say that word properly. It's not... It's racking the shotgun.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
go ahead.
Yeah, that's
Got a
not
question?
creepy.
Well,
yeah. I have a question. How do we stop it? No,
you stay still and let me come to you. I promise it will all be over soon.
Guys, I think we should just go. Let's just go. We don't really need this monkey statue, do we?
Now, I should have asked this a while ago, but I'm going to ask now.
Okay.
Are there any openings whatsoever? Something I could look into? Maybe not something I could fit into, but something I could see through.
Unfortunately, no. Although I know, like that picture of the tomb that I sent you last week, it did have like a little white, like a little porthole on the top of it. This is a completely solid marble door, tomb door that's slid inside. In fact, it seems quite heavy. The only gap there is just on the bottom and just on the top as these tiny little cracks in which you can see a flickering light inside. In fact, as the scream resonates from inside, that banshee-like scream, you can see the light flicker itself inside as well. Then, oh yeah, are you moving up?
How tall is the tomb?
The tomb is 12 feet tall.
Okay. Then I don't know how long this will take me, but Al's going to try and climb to the top.
Okay. I'll continue on, but
Sure.
I'll have you start climbing. Now, the important thing is the progress of your climb. This isn't completely smooth marble, as I described last week. There are not only are there the bloody runes on it, which you can't really get a hold of, but there's all these etchings of flowers and leaves on the tomb as well, which you can kind of make as little tiny handholds, but otherwise this is a straight parallel wall. Do you have any tools to assist you in climbing?
Ooh. Not that I brought with me, no.
Okay, all right. So I would like you to do a climb check and make it harder by 40. 40.
40. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, because you're climbing a straight vertical wall.
Jeez Louise. All right. So that's basically like an unskilled at that point.
Yep.
Which I fail by 30.
Dot.
What? Hello? Can you guys still hear me?
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
I
can
hear
hear
you.
you.
Okay.
Inferno might have disappeared.
I think the
Awesome.
cops are coming to get Inferno.
I think so.
No, that's Piff.
I was going to say, no, they heard the chanting.
Ugh.
I can hear you.
Oh,
Hi.
hi.
Oh, hi. We can hear you now.
Hello.
Hello.
That's
Uh-oh,
not
I think
fucking
we're-
annoying.
I think lag.
Oh.
I think they.
Yeah, I think there was.
Hello, past Inferno. How are you?
Fine.
Oh, good. Yay. Lag is gone.
Sorry.
I'm gone.
No, lag is gone.
No lag is gone. Okay, good.
Yeah.
That's not annoying. Okay, what was the last cohesive thing that you heard me say?
He said he
Uh,
failed,
No,
and that was it.
I rolled
I
and failed
failed.
by 30. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. You failed, so you try to get it up a few feet, but you just can't find a proper handhold. So you fall back to the ground, and you can try again a little bit later on.
Nah, I'll just
Pat-
keep my position there.
Okay, Patrick, I saw you move up a little bit. Are you going to do anything? You're still just waiting
Yeah.
for- Mhm.
Patrick is going to do a building run where he starts out slow and then tries to get to the front door to cast a spell. Now, of course, that all takes time, so
Yeah. Okay, what spell are you going to be casting?
Fly.
Fly on what? What object?
Door.
The door. Okay. Well, you're going to get halfway through your spell before something else happens, and then we'll have to roll for initiative and see if it fires off in time or if other things happen.
Right.
So as you begin to move to the door, the scream stops, and as you begin your incantation, the mist, the translucent ether that's leaking from both bodies on either side, is joined by a face that pokes through the front window, a door, and this individual looks different than the soupy, congealed mist that's leaking from these other two corpses. This is a ghostly visage. The face is clearly of that of a woman, but it's all flesh, rotting flesh is hanging off of her translucent form. Hair in clumps and wisp around her as her mouth is twisted open and gives another scream as she lunges through the marble walls and towards you all. So now what I would like you all to do is roll for initiative, because this spirit and the other ones coming from the bodies are not here to sell you cookies. All right, initiative. Go ahead and roll for initiative and fill it in where you need to. Give me a moment. I gotta just put these names. Okay.
Whoops. There we go.
Well, there's an opening now.
What do you mean there's an opening?
It's the
She's
ghost that
coming
went
from-
through wall.
Oh, ghost.
The ghost
through-
that went through the wall. Yeah, she went
Well, all I
through the
need to
wall.
do
She
is-
didn't open up the wall.
All I need to do is be a ghost. I got this.
You're invisible. I'm sure you can run through the wall, dude. Try it out. You'll be
you
fine.
guys just hear a smack and a thud.
Tell you what, I'll just pull out a black marker and draw a door on it. You'll be able to get to that.
Totally.
Work the Roadrunner, man.
Ooh, 21 and 3.
We need to get to a dimension where there's an Acme vendor.
Yeah, it's called the Warner Brothers dimension.
Hey, sure.
Why is Patrick's thing not blue? I don't know why it's not blue. It makes me sad.
Somebody's
All right,
editing
got
it
the
and
proper.
not. Yeah.
Oh, that would do it. Not pressing enter.
Yeah.
There we go. Oh, I gotta do Alicia and Bear.
Anonymous alligator, anonymous hyena, anonymous jackal.
Yeah, because if you're not logged into a Google account, it just gives you a fake anonymous name. 18 for. Did that? No, that's Bear. Good job, Bear. I don't know what the fuck you're gonna do, but good job.
Should
Yeah,
I not
Alicia's-
put in things or?
Yeah, you should. No, you
Right.
should. It was just. It was hovering there for a while, so I thought the document glitched out.
You were triggering Inferno's OCD.
Yeah, why is everything not blue? No, I thought you were done with it. Nah, I don't care. It's all good. All right, did everyone put in their initiative?
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so.
Okay, let me sort this then. Oh shit! Before we do this, I need you all to roll horror factor because this might affect your initiative. We're gonna do horror factor this time because this is fucked up. So the horror factor is versus a horror factor of 14. 1-4. So what you want to do is you want to roll a 1d20 and get 14 or higher. And if you have any bonuses to save versus horror factor, which will be outlined in your sheet on the second page, apply those bonuses. If you succeed, great, good job. Lavin fails.
I don't like magic.
Patrick fails.
Failed
Al
by one.
fails. I gotta do Alicia and Bear. Bear succeeds. Alicia has a +2, fails. Okay. We're gonna go with the people who failed first, from top to bottom. So Lavin, give me just a quick second as I open up my horror factor document, so I let you know what effect you get.
Well, it looks like everybody who failed by 1 or 2, so I imagine
Yeah.
we'll have the same.
No, not quite, because you're going to give yourself a roll for using your mental endurance stat.
Oh,
So, yeah, look in and see what your ME score is.
9.
Okay, 9. So roll a d20, and it's going to be 9 minus your d20 roll, positive or negative.
9 minus d20.
Yep. Okay, so 9 minus 12, so you're at a -3, which is not that bad. So -3. Oh, this is okay. You don't lose any attacks, but for the remainder of this combat, you have no bonuses to strike, parry, or dodge.
None at
They're
all from anything.
None. You are shook, my friend. You are shook. Okay. Okay, that was Lavin. Patrick.
Okay. D20.
Mm-hmm. You get a 0. A 0 means you lose your first attack in the first melee round. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm still going to let you do your spell, right? But instead of going off at turn 2, it'll go off at turn 3. Sound
Okay.
good? So we're going to just X you off, and it's going to take 2 turns. All right?
Okay.
Sound fair? Good. And Patrick. Al!
Hang on.
See, the thing is if you roll low enough, and you get like a positive number, you can actually overcome your fear. It's handy. Okay, you're a -1, Al. A -1 means your strike, parry, and dodge is -1 for the remainder of the combat.
Okay.
Oh, you did
It's
that
horrible.
backwards.
Huh?
It's supposed to be a +1.
I'm confused.
What's your ME score?
It's 14.
And I rolled
Yeah,
rolled a
so it's
13.
14 minus your rolls. So you got
okay.
13.
Positive.
So it's a
one.
+1?
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
at a +1, you also lose your first attack in the first melee round. So I'm going to X off attack number 1 on you.
Is
Okay?
that better or worse than what I got before?
I don't know. It depends on the circumstance.
It depends how long the fight is.
I
Yeah.
guess, yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine.
And it's just Alicia who has to do it. So 1d20. She got a 2. Oh, and her ME score is 12. So she has a
Plus
plus
10.
10.
That's pretty
Oh
good.
shit, Alicia, plus 10. No change. She might be suffering from horror factor, but she has the strength to overcome it. So yeah, yeah, that's how that works. So keep that in mind. Poor Lavin got the worst of it, but hey, I mean, he hates magic and the shit's going on. So all right, now let me sort. No one lost any initiative or anything like that, so I'm good to sort. Sort range, column D from Z to A. And the Spirit of Anguish goes first. Spirit of Anguish is the one in front of Tom. That's by Al there as well. The mist, this smoke, this material in front of you, Tom, that's hovering above the skinny guard, begins to take shape, and it takes the shape of the severed head that's lying just to the left, the face of this man, but his face is in a complete and utter grimace of pain as it lunges towards you. It's going to roll to strike. 1d20 plus 3. I got a 20, not a natural 20, but a 20. Would you like to take a defensive action?
Can I parry?
You can attempt to parry. You don't know how effective it would be. It might not be. You can give it a shot, though. What are you going to parry with?
My sword.
Okay. Wait, which sword? The flaming one?
The black light blade.
Okay. All right. Roll a parry.
I screwed up the thing. All right. Let's go.
Uh-huh.
Damn.
No luck. You try to bring your blade up to stop you, but this thing touches you. And everyone who's looking towards Tom can see a very macabre sight. This thing doesn't simply strike your chest, Tom. It encompasses your entire head. And all of you can see this smoke and mist from this spirit, this thing, begins to invade inside Tom's body. It goes into his ears, his mouth, up his nose, even through his tear ducts. And Tom, you have to try to fight this thing off. What I need you to do is do a save versus ritual magic, which is a save versus magic at it's a base score of 16. If you have any bonuses to save versus magic, check your character sheet and apply them. There's no additional modifiers on this. It's just a straight save.
Okay, let's see if I can do it. Nope.
You cannot.
Okay.
Tom,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to describe what you feel, and then I'm going to let you know what the effect is.
Okay.
Everyone can see in a matter of mere seconds, the smoke has invaded and disappeared inside your friend Tom. His body jitters a few times. And although this takes place in just a matter of seconds, inside your mind, Tom, it seems much longer. For a moment, you get a flashback, looking through eyes that are not your own. Looking down at the guard, looking down at your body, you can see the skinny uniform of the guard that is dead in front of you. You can see through his eyes, and you can feel the cold stone press against your back. You can hear the wicked voice, this awful, tormented laugh in your ears, and you can see the shadowy face of a small, toady-looking man in front of you. He gives an evil smile, and you can see his rotted teeth and his foul breath. And what's even worse is he has this horrible, curved, jagged blade, and he's cutting into you, and everything that he cuts, it's like hitting a raw nerve. Pain overwhelms you completely and utterly. Now we're going to see how long this lasts, my friend. Let me look at my rules. 1d4 plus 2. So for 5 melee rounds, you are overcome. Completely and overcome by pure pain. I'll let you roleplay it however it is, but pretty much you fall to the ground, scream bloody murder. The pain is just unbearable. Now, the good news is that at the end of every melee round, you can still fight. You can fight and get this fucking thing out of your body, which means you get to re-roll your save versus magic. And if you succeed, then you push this fucker out. But for at least this melee round, until we reach to the end, you're in anguish. Cool?
Yep.
So all we saw was it hit him, this happened, and he just starts screaming.
Yes. Is that fair, Tom? I'm assuming that's how you'd react to intense pain as you're reliving this horrible memory. Okay.
Yes. I would like to also say maybe there's some flames dancing around him.
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. It's your character. That makes sense, and that makes a lot of sense considering you. Sure. You can see like embers and flames come from his mouth and around his body as he twitches in pain. Bear, extremely concerned, runs over towards you, Tom, and tries to shake you awake, but it's not really doing anything, unfortunately. Patrick, you cast... Oh, wait. We'll have to wait till next round for your spell to go off because you lost your first action.
Okay.
All right. Al lost his first action due to horror factor.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Patrick, you're in front of the door. And it is this banshee-like woman, completely, her entire body you can see now as it slinks out of going through the wall itself. You can see the remnants of a tattered dress on her as she moves towards you and tries to strike. Let me roll a 1d20 plus 4. It's enough to hit you. Would you like to take a defensive action?
Dodge, please. Wait,
okay.
Yeah, dodge.
Dodge, all right. There's no penalty. She's not moving as fast as a bullet or anything like that. So do a good old-fashioned dodge. We're going to use up another action for the dodge, but don't worry. You'll be able... 12. Okay. Narrowly, you move to one side, and the spirit misses you. You can hear its scream go past your ear as her hands reach out for you, but she flies past you, behind you, missing you. Good job.
Lavin begins to enter a sort of manic rage and just continues to chop apart the corpse that's in front of him.
Okay. You don't need to roll the strike because the corpse isn't trying to dodge or anything like that. Is it just fair to say I can just describe, you begin just hacking away. Body parts are flying away from this body. Sounds good?
Fair. Yeah.
All right. Alicia gives a curse, takes a shot at the ghost that tried to attack Patrick, a person she swore to protect in this creepy place. She rolls to strike and hits. The ghost, not knowing or not caring, does not try to dodge. And the bullets completely fly past the apparition and slam into the marble tomb behind it, blowing off a small chunk of marble and stone. The apparition appears to be unharmed. Alicia swears, perhaps even longer perhaps even louder than the screams of this banshee-like creature. Tom, you're twitching around in pain. And Lavin, the mist forming above the body that you're just hacking to pieces takes on the face of the guard in which you are eviscerating. And for the slightest moment, it seems pleased at what it sees as it moves to attack you. I'm going to roll a 1d20 plus 3. 13. Would you like to take a defensive action?
I gotta ask a rules question. Sorry. Does
Sure.
dodge take a turn?
Dodge does take an action. It doesn't take a turn. So
yeah, I mean,
try dodge, like it'll be your turn, but yeah, it takes an action. Yeah,
it takes 20 actions.
Just one.
I suppose I'll try and parry and see if that does anything.
Okay.
With my vibroblade.
Sure.
Hey, bonuses.
Okay, well that's okay. You normally should apply your bonuses, but you rolled higher anyway, so it's fine.
No, I don't I don't get bonuses.
Oh yeah, you get no bonuses because you're scored, but you still succeed, which is good in a sense. Go ahead and roll damage, please.
I believe that is. Oh, I'm supposed to put strength on this too, and I don't know if I ever did figure that out. Because now it's STC and strength matters. I think I wrote this.
Yeah. Normally it wouldn't because it's mega damage, but now it does. Yeah, because it's STC. But we'll go right now with the 20, which is good. Now this is your holy weapon too, right?
Yeah.
So you get some mixed results. You bring up your blade to parry at this thing, and it forms around it. However, unlike the bullet shot that went completely through, you can feel some resistance. You're cutting into this vapor, and this thing does give a scream that's almost like pain. But it still parts around your blade, and it still hits your head. And very similar to Tom, the mist begins to go into your mouth and your eyes and your nose and your ears. And I need you to save versus ritual magic, my friend. Now, the good news, out of character, you did hurt it. The bad news is that since it's made of vapor, a parry doesn't stop its attack, but it does hurt it.
That looks pretty bad.
That is pretty bad. So I'm going to do very similar. I'm going to describe what you feel and then let you know the in-game effects. For a second, your vision is not your own. Things go black, and they open up, and you remember. What was the last thing you remember? You remember being sucker punched in the back by maybe a jack or a club. The back of your head still throbs, and you're lying on the ground, and you hear this awful tittering, croaking laugh, and you look up and you see the face of this toady little pathetic wretch with a jagged knife in his hand, and it's cutting into you. Who the fuck does this guy think he is? You're Harry Johnson, the toughest motherfucker in the entire city. You took this job as a favor to your brother, but you were a star quarterback 20 years ago. You know how to throw a punch, and the only reason why this little shit is cutting into you is because he's a fucking coward. A fucking coward. Your rage overcomes you. You don't care if it hurts. Fine, let it fucking hurt. The second you're able to get your goddamn hands over this scrawny pecker's neck, the better. You are overwhelmed with complete and utter anger and rage. And very similar to Tom, I will roll a 1d4 and add 2. This will last for 3 melee rounds. And every round, so not every round, every action you have now, you have a choice as a player. You may attack the closest person to you, or you may attack a random person, in which I would roll a dice. Either way, you are so overcome with complete rage, you are going to lash out at anyone around you.
Okay.
And similar to the end of every melee round before we start a new one, similar to Tom, you'll get to try to roll a saving throw again to kind of push the spirit of rage out of your body. Groovy beans?
Yep.
Okie dokie. Haven't gone wild, everyone. Haven't gone wild. Spirit of Anguish does nothing because it's inside of Tom. Bear. Oh, God. Bear doesn't know what to do. And he's going to stand up from the screaming Tom, and he'll yell to Al, and he'll say, he's hurt, he's in pain. Yeah, that'll be his action. Patrick, you have 2 options. You may either do a new action, or you can cast your spell now. Nothing else is impeding you. Your spell can go off. I'll even say because of your deft dodge, you still kept the incantation. So if you want to still cast Fly on the marble door, feel free. If you want to do something else, I'll let you do something else.
I would like to do something else.
Okay.
If I were to cast a spell, is there is this kind of like in real time?
No. Normally, if it's in combat, Normally, if it's in combat, I would just use up the actions and would go off right away, right? The only reason why we stalled it is because we were out of combat and it took time. And you said yourself, this takes a little bit of time to do. So these sudden interruptions kind of interrupted you. But no, if you cast a spell at anything, I'm just going to use the attacks and just let it go off right away. So as our normal rules are.
Okay. This does seem to be all to scale. Am I allowed to move and cast a spell?
Of course. Yeah. You can move your speed value in feet.
Okay. Yeah, should be fine. Patrick moves up towards Lavin. As much as his body can carry him before his leg doesn't want to really do much anymore. And then cast a spell towards him. He's going to cast Exorcism.
Groovy. All right, let's use the actions. Boop, boop. And give me 2 seconds. The last time you had to exercise something was a while ago. So give me just 2 shakes of a little lamb's tail as I look up the spell.
Lavin gets plenty of exercise. What I really need is this ghost out of me.
I'm not even gonna... jokes.
Fuck you. I'm not even gonna... No, that's good. Okay, so this is by spell. So the saving throw is 12.
Well, plus spell.
Yeah.
So what is my spell strength is a +3.
Oh, it just forces him out and he can just try again. But you'll get a +12. No, the original victim gets a +12 to save, and you'll get a +6. Oh, but I get to roll a d20.
Right.
Oh, no, it gets 2 shots. Save. It gets 2 shots. Yeah. Okay, all right. Oh, this is going to be interesting. He's on a timer to try to get to someone else. That's interesting. Okay. Patrick, the spell goes off, and Lavin, just as quickly as this rage begins to well up inside of you, it begins to dissipate, and you guys can all see Lavin's twitching for a few moments, but the vapor unceremoniously begins to escape out of his eyes and ears and everything else, and it coalesces on top of its hovering atop Lavin's head, and you can see the face inside of this mist its teeth is bared. It's extremely pissed off at not being able to go there. So, Lavin, just a heads up, if anything tries to possess you again, you know how I said you roll that saving throw?
Yeah.
You add a +12 to it now.
Just for this combat or the next round or what?
Yeah, for the rest of the combat.
Okay.
For the rest of the combat. So, and I'm not going to have it act right away. I'll have it act on its own turn. But good job, Patrick. Good job. And you have a +6 to save versus possession, right?
Yep.
Yep. So we're going to, just in case I forget, just so you know. Okay, Al, your turn. Good job.
Oh, boy. Al was thinking along the same lines, but Al is running a little bit on empty here. But you know what? That's not a concern to him. His friend's screaming in pain. Al's going to cast Exorcism on Tom.
Okie dokie, artichoke.
That's going to take, because I only have 3 PPE left on me, so I'm going to be using 30 of the 40 on my battery.
Okay. It costs 33? Or you're just
30.
It costs 30 PPE.
Yeah. I see. Okay, cool.
I'm curious, does that battery, can you recharge it, or is this like
Yeah.
Oh,
he has to meditate and put his PPE into it, but it's not a one-time thing. It is like a literal battery. You can recharge it.
Yeah, if I'm not near a ley line, it's a bit of a pain, but, not as much pain as Tom's going through.
Fucking help me.
Yeah, so I'm casting Exorcism on Tom. I mean, someone somewhere is casting exorcism on Tom.
Is it another ghost?
I don't know.
So I just want to make it real clear, just out of character, so I can kind of explain it in a way. People are like, aren't they immune to possession? And technically, you guys are immune from possession, from alien entities and other things like that. This isn't. You guys are casting exorcism, and so. But this isn't. This is more of like a mental attack against you guys, a magical mental attack that these spirits are doing. It's not a true possession, because if it's a true possession, you wouldn't be able to fight against it or your will or push it out or anything like that. But I know people are like, oh, mist is going inside of them and forcing them to do something. It's possession. But
so it's more like they're reaching into us to attack, not to.
Yes,
possess.
exactly. They're attacking you from the inside.
Think of it like more of a kind of like an emotional vampire. They're pushing emotions,
it's imparting
into
an emotion,
rather
than sucking it up. Yeah.
Like
Okay.
my ex-girlfriend.
Oh, now I'm sad. All right. Anyway, exorcism. I get no saving throw. It just happens. So, Tom, thankfully, the memories, the images in your head begin to dissipate. And once again, this mist begins to cloud over the prostrate form of Tom. In the future, you have a plus 12 to save against these attacks. And Al, you have a plus 6 to save. And this thing is out of him. We have to use half of your attacks, though, Al, because it's a magic spell. So 1, 2, 3. There we go. I got it. All right. Okay. Alicia shot at it, and Patrick was her original target. Let's be fair, and I'm going to roll a 1d2. A 1 is Patrick, and 2 is Alicia. Okay. She moves to attack Alicia. D20 plus 4. Alicia doesn't want this fucking thing to touch her. She saw what happened. Hey, and she dodges. All right, Alicia got used up in attack, but she definitely moves to one side as this screeching, dressed form of this woman screams on past her. And you can hear a bit of a scream of rage, too, and frustration. Lavin, you're still standing. Your mind has been gone over a roller coaster the past 3 seconds, but you have your own faculties again.
I think Lavin would begin with his vibroblade still out, like swinging his hands above his head, because you said it was above his head, right?
Yeah, so it is above your head.
Yeah, swinging his hands like above his head, like he's swatting flies, trying to hit this thing.
Okay. All right, roll to attack.
Which explains my complete lack of penalty.
Good job. Good job.
Holy shit.
You
swing. It's the second time.
Yeah, wow. You are. The dice fucking hate you today, Spiral. All right, you're swinging your head around your neck, but you don't hit a speck of the vapor above you. You suck. I feel bad. Okay, Alicia curses, and she runs up by Al, and she says, anything with a body I'll protect you from, but I think she goes beside Patrick. She says, anything with a body I'll protect you from, but you need to protect me from this fucking thing. And that's her action. She takes a defensive pose by Patrick. Tom, you're on the ground, but you have your own faculties. You can see Bear off to your left. Al's invisible off to your left, so off to your right, so you can't really see him. But you do see this vapor hovering a few feet above you.
How far away is it? It's not in melee range, is it?
If you just sit up a little bit and swing with your sword. I mean, your sword is like 4 feet, and it's just a couple feet above you. It's within melee range.
Okay. I will try to get up and attack it with my black light blade.
Okie dokie.
That will be plus this. 25.
Okay. You hit it. Roll damage. Sorry, I was just trying to think of a description. But similar to Lavin, it goes through it, but you can feel some resistance, and this thing does give a ghostly howl as well. Go ahead and roll damage, please.
Okay. 53.
And this is your holy weapon?
This is my holy weapon.
Yeah, he keeps rolling max damage on it.
Well, Tom. Wait, what's the plus 13 about?
He has the +3 to his hand-to-hand.
Yeah, my +3 from damage. And the +10 is because it's my holy weapon.
Yeah. Holy weapon. Okay, holy moly. All right. I should have saved the description for after you roll damage. My bad. Okay, this is interesting. This is the first time this effect happens too. Your blade goes through it, and not only do you feel some resistance, but this thing finally gives a final howl. And as it does, and it begins to dissipate for just a split second, anyone looking this direction would notice, it's a flash of yellow light. Actual light in this black and white. It's happened for a moment, but his entire blade flashes this beautiful, bright, vibrant golden light. And with a final screech, the being completely disappears. It's gone. Vaporized. That was the spirit of anguish. It is now no more.
That's my turn.
He says it so callously. Well, the spirit of rage is not happy about this, and it's gonna go after the thing that took it away from its tasty, tasty victim. Patrick, it is sweeping over towards you to attack. I've rolled a 6.
Lucky for him, I'm out of actions.
Yeah. Shit. But you get a +6 to this. So, roll save versus ritual magic. So 16 or higher, but you add a +6, plus whatever bonuses you might get to save versus magic, remember. Because this is a magical attack.
All right.
Yeah. So for a second, and you can hear Alicia bring in a deep breath of fear and worry. The vapor begins to push into the tear ducts and the ears and everything, but it only gets halfway through. And then, Patrick, you will it out. I don't know how you want to describe it if you want to. But eventually this vapor retreats, unable to grab a hold of your mind.
I would think Patrick is wandering his mind back to the usual. When he encountered beings like this before, emotional ghosts.
Yes.
And he takes the emotion that is being forced into him and basically flips it.
Oh, so instead of rage, peace, tranquility.
Yes.
Yeah, that definitely pisses it off. I mean, it makes it ineffective. Okay, Bear gives a grateful look to both Al and Tom and turns to face and move towards Alicia and Patrick, admitting that he doesn't think he has any way to fight this thing, but he'll stand with you nevertheless. Patrick is out of actions. Al, your turn.
Al is going to. He can see the thing that's attacking Patrick, right?
Yes, you can see both the form of the woman that's just behind Alicia over here. And you can see the mist with the face of the guard that Lavin was hacking, just above Patrick.
Got it. Al's going to go to the closer one, which is the one above Patrick. He's going to dash over there and try to attack it with sharp. with sharp.
Oh, okay, sure. Your blade. Okay.
Yeah.
You're within range. It's a small blade, but it's just a few feet over Patrick, and you're pretty tall. So go ahead and roll the strike.
Okay. Hang on. And can I see enough of its features to do a called strike to anything, or is it kind of wispy and
Normally you could do a called strike if it has a clear, head and shoulders and everything like that, but it's mostly wispy. Just a misty form with kind of a face inside of it.
Yeah, then I'm just going to strike at it. So 26.
Yeah, that's a hit. This thing is not going to try to dodge or take a defensive action. So go ahead and roll damage. Now this will be very important because Lavin already heard it a little bit.
16.
Okay. Once again, your blade pushes through it, and you feel some resistance, and you hear a howl from the spirit itself. But unlike when Tom attacked, your blade, your holy weapon, doesn't flash a bright color. It merely appears to wound this thing or harm it, or at least cause a reaction from it.
Got it.
That's you, Al. The other spirit turns around. It sees all of you collected, and once again, this is the only spirit that has an actual form. You can see now it looks like a full translucent woman, an older woman in a tattered dress. And to be fair, I'm going to say Bear's 1, Al's 2, Alicia's 3, and Patrick is 4. Roll 1d4. A 2. Al!
Yes.
This twisted mouth opens up and gives a horrible shriek as it lunges towards you. 1d20 plus 4. Getting 18. Would you like to take a defensive action?
Sure. A couple of questions. One, it looks like it can see me directly, right? So it's coming right for me. Can I parry it with sharp?
Of course you can try. Yep.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and parry it. I mean, it hurt it when I hit it, so I'll try.
Okay. Roll your parry. Add all your bonuses. You don't get any penalties, unlike poor Lavin, who's failed his horror factor.
Right. So I get an 18 parry.
So that's a tie. A tie to the defender. So you're the defender. So we're good. That's 11 for damage.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, similar to what happened to Lavin. You bring up your blade to parry it, and its ethereal form shapes around it. But as it shapes around it, you can hear it give its scream twist slightly in a tinge of pain. You know you've affected it somehow. But once again, similar to the other spirits, this one doesn't just invade, the mist doesn't invade your nose and your ears. This one almost goes in front of you and walks through you. And you guys can see this apparition woman walk into Al, grasping at him, and then disappear for just a moment. Now, Al, you get to do your save versus ritual magic. It's you have to beat a 16, and because you cast the exorcism spell previously, you do get a +6, plus whatever bonuses to save versus magic you might have.
Got it. All right, so just roll a d20 plus. I succeed, 22.
Good job. And just as quickly as the spirit of this woman enters Al's body, it instantly is thrown back several feet as if she was pushed out violently. As she gives this awful, grimacing howl look at you, Al. Good job.
I guess she finds that there's not much guilt in this guy anymore.
All right, Lavin, your turn.
I will continue swatting above my head.
Just heads up, there's no spirit above your head anymore. It's moved over to Patrick.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'll keep swatting at that spirit. The same one.
Okay, the same one. Yeah, the one that you initially wounded before and tried to get into your head. All right, roll to strike. Hey, Opa! Now roll damage.
And I even figured out my plus
Strength
melee. Yeah.
Okay, good. So 19, double it because this is your holy weapon. Let me check. Yep, just enough. That no, that's great. The stab by Al tipped it over the edge. You swat at this thing. You lunge at this thing. The blade courses right through it. And for a moment, in this black and white noir environment, this lack of color, you can see for a moment a flash. And it's not just the blade, your entire arm flashes up. And for a moment, you can see the color in your clothes just for a split second as a bright flash goes through it. And when it subsides, the misty form of this spirit of rage disappears into the air. Defeated. Let me just X you out there, buddy. One more to go. That was Lavin. Alicia gives a cheer when she sees Lavin defeat this thing. But since she's tried to take a shot at this spirit and done nothing, she instinctively moves behind Patrick for quasi-protection. The worm has turned in this relationship. All right, Tom, your turn. All that's left is the spirit that's in front of Al, just a couple feet. It's right here. Sorry I didn't have a token for it, but it's a wispy motherfucker, so I mean...
No problem. I have 3 actions. So what I would like to do is spend 2. I would like to use one action to get up to it, and the other one to try and attack it.
Sure, that's normally standard, doing a move and attack, taking, because of the distance, it would take 2 actions. So, yeah, okay, I'll use 2 actions, and go ahead. Roll to hit.
Let's see. 18.
Now, unlike the other creatures, other spirits that have now dissipated, this one perhaps has more faculties or more dexterity, but it is going to try and dodge. I'm going to use up its action to dodge, but it's going to give it a shot because it's seen what your blade can do, and it doesn't want to do that. So it has a +5 to dodge, and it fails. Uses up an attack, it doesn't even dodge. All right, roll damage.
All right, let's see how much it does. 33.
Oh, for crying out loud, 66 plus L's. Okay, no, it's still around. You cut through it, and once again you feel the resistance, and this thing gives a horrible, horrible screech that pierces everyone's ears. Although you're not officially deafened, after this encounter, you'll hear for just a few seconds a ringing in your ears because of this piercing scream. Bear covers his ears reflectively and steps back a few feet. Al, your turn.
Well, I will move up and attack with Sharp.
All right, roll to strike. She can't even dodge.
Okay. 29.
Yeah. And is that your damage? 19?
Yeah, 19 damage, yeah.
And that is your holy weapon. Yep. So, once again, by just a couple points, it's enough. You delve your blade into the shrieking form, and you can see she was beginning to lift off and go into the sky, but you're able to jump up and stab into her form. We'll say her chest, if that's okay by you.
Sure, yeah.
And for the first time, you feel even more resistance. And for a moment, your blade, your holy weapon blade, flashes in a bright yellow light. And for a moment, looking at it, you can see the detail and the true color of the weapon itself. As giving a horrible screech, the spirit itself begins to dissipate. And that scream turns into a low, baleful moan, And for just a few seconds afterwards, we're now out of combat. A few seconds later, you can still hear in the air a sobbing, crying moan. The next few moments, silence once again flows over the graveyard. And from inside the tomb, you hear that twisted little voice say, are you dead?
Yes.
Very dead.
Totally.
Oh,
you can open the door now.
How could you have defeated? This was my most powerful ritual yet. I'll never get in after all this. What do you want?
Took my knife.
Just leave me alone now.
And I stabbed it until it died.
Yeah, that's what we did. We took out our weapons and we stabbed them until they died.
Weapons? Surely you must be joking. Nothing can harm the incorporeal. That was the whole point. You're supposed to be twisted and paralyzed in pain, and I was supposed to haul you back to my master, and they would put me into the order. But no, you had to survive.
We have holy weapons.
Holy weapons. That's words of magic. Tomfoolery. There's no such thing as white magic. There's only black. The arcane arts. I don't know how you vexed me, but I'll find out.
Maybe your masters aren't all they're cracked up to be, or your little tiny incantations.
Oh, no. My master is more powerful, much more powerful than me. I am but an acolyte. This was supposed to be my proving ground. Curses you! I don't suppose you'll just let me go, will you?
Personally, I would like to stab you until you're dead.
Yeah.
That's my, sort of goal in life at the moment.
Though supposedly...
And is there anything I can persuade you from not doing that?
Sure. You could tell us who your masters are and where they are and why they're trying to kill us.
Also the monkey.
The monkey'd be good.
Fine.
I'm going to open the door now. Al goes over to the door and attempts to open it.
Well, it's extremely heavy. What's your strength score again? Your physical strength PS?
It's give me a second. It's slightly above normal. It is 15.
That's not bad. That's not bad. We'll do kind of the equivalent of a strength check. All right.
Okay.
So we're gonna times. This is a moderate check. So that means we're gonna times your strength score by 5, which should be 30, 60, 75, right? If I'm doing the math correctly, yeah, 75. Correct. So roll a 1d20. If you get 75 or less, you're able to haul it aside. If you go above, then the door is too heavy.
Got it. Rolled a 20, so below 75.
Yes, yes, yeah. Yes, it is. It takes a little bit of heft, but you begin to, put your fingers in between the gap of the tomb, and you begin to haul it open, and you hear this horrible whimper from inside. Is when you push open the tomb door with this horrible rack, what you see inside is, at first, you see a unearthed coffin, or an unearthed, I guess a tomb is more of a stone coffin, a sarcophagus in the center of the tomb itself. And on top of the sarcophagus is a lantern, its light still flickering away, and around the sarcophagus, the stone sarcophagus, are more of these strange foul runes in blood. In addition, you can see what appears to be, what seems to be, it's at least 30, 20 hanging blackbirds, ravens, magpies, and crows, all hung by their neck, hung by rope inside of the tomb itself, like these macabre decorations. Patrick, taking a glance at that, you can assume that it was the lives of these creatures that perhaps provided the necessary fuel, along with the 2 dead corpses that are flanking the tomb, that gave enough magical energy for this ritual to come to life, to invoke these spirits. The tomb itself is undisturbed, and behind, in the corner of the marble tomb, almost like a trapped rat, you see a man. He's only 5'2", very short, and he has this little hunched back. You can see his hands across his dark robe, and there's a hood over his face, but you can see his hands are very warty and very old, although his face doesn't look ancient. It looks almost like a baby face, but it's all cracked. He gives a nervous grimace, and you can see rotted teeth in him. And he says, fine. Take the statue. It's inside the tomb, and I'll answer whatever you want, and you'll let me go.
I want to note, in case it matters, all he saw was the door open and everyone else standing behind. He didn't see anyone actually open the door.
Well, he saw people behind you, though, Al.
Right, but I mean, no one close enough. But I'm saying, like, no one close enough to open the door. So he doesn't. I mean, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if it would help his disposition or not.
Well,
we opened the door without touching it, basically.
Well, he can't get any more afraid than he is right now. He's stuck like an animal in the corner. So there you go.
Fair point. Yeah.
Plus, it's probably more reasonable for him to assume that he can't see the person who opened the door, rather than assume that there's some kind of like supernatural force at work. Or I don't know exactly what you're insinuating. He might think.
All right, fair enough. Yeah. Al's going to go near him, but he's not going to do anything. He's going to let people who are more visual do stuff.
Are you still invisible?
Yeah, for like 15 minutes.
Well, now like 13 minutes.
Well, yeah, now like
13. You can like do stuff while you're invisible?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, in Rift's invisibility lasts whether you attack or not. So.
Really?
Huh. Yep.
Jeez. Okay.
I know, right?
I could have sworn. All right.
Nope. I
got to quickly look that up. See, the thing is that regular invisibility, you can see him through thermals and stuff like that. Improved invisibility, no. Let me just, now that we're talking about it real quick.
I have
I'm curious. Oh, no, that's okay.
Maybe it was just the thing that I had. I remember that I had an invisibility spell in another game of Rifts that like I could not attack, or else I become.
The character still can make noise, leave footprints, and physical and magical context attacks still affect him as usable. While invisible, the mage can talk, weave spells, walk, climb, run, open doors, carry objects, perform acts of physical exertion, including combat, and remain invisible.
Cool.
Jesus.
Yep. Yeah, because remember, I did that to Nathan, too. I was invisible during most of that last fight. Well, not most of it, but a lot of it.
Yep. But, like, yeah. Now there's an improved invisibility where even, like, heat detection and shit like that you can't see. But, like, if you put on your thermals right now, Lavin, you'd be able to see out. But this guy clearly doesn't have thermal lenses. Just two very scared eyes. He gave you guys an opportunity. What do you respond to?
Patrick does walk in. Let's see. What do you still have? How long has this all been since like
as you walk in? You see there's all these hanging blackbirds, but you also see now that you're a little bit closer, you can see the frightened figure in the corner. And you can see he has a jagged knife in his hands, but he's not using it threatening, but he's keeping it close in case you try to attack him. But he's looking at you carefully with black eyes, waiting for a response.
You think there's only of the black arts? Or if I were to prove to you that there were others?
I don't need your proof. I need my life. So far, you've done nothing to ensure it. You have bested me. You are stronger than me. But I am the weakest of them. I'm not even of the Order of the Lapine. So, I suggest you take my information and this cursed statue that you want so much and let me go. I assure you, I will never be in Velda City or even nearby again. I am not just afraid of you, my immediate problem. I'm afraid of the others, the ones above me, the ones who hired me and my master. They will be very disappointed. And as I said before, there are fates worse than death. If you killed me, it would actually be the second worst thing that could happen to me. You understand?
Well, we could just turn him over to the police.
Who said that?
He should answer for these bodies.
You can summon spirits too, I see. He spits over at Patrick.
Lavin wants to go stand in the door frame.
Okay.
Like leaning on the wall of the door frame so that there's, basically blocking the exit.
Sure. Alicia and Bear stand behind you a little bit, giving you some assistance, but your large form and that door you filled up completely. In fact, the flickering shadows of your figure emit behind you as well in a very dramatic moment.
Patrick warily blinks at him and then says, if you're very eager to leave and not be in any sort of contact with them again, then we really only want questions answered and the statue beside you.
All right. Fine, I'll answer what I will. And the very fact that I'm betraying them is the least of my problems. Failure is a greater betrayal. So you don't have to worry about me holding anything back. They're going to be in my past now. And I am hoping and praying to the dark gods that you will provide enough of a distraction that I can go and they'll not worry about me anymore. But they are powerful. They have eyes everywhere. Let's hope that you can take their gaze away. Yes, and then I'll come back. And if you don't finish the job, I will. I'll come back stronger. There are more out there. Anyway, your answers. First and foremost, you want your statue open up. I assure you there are no traps, nothing in there. I needed that bod perfectly preserved of the old Miss Dorothy Neal. It'll be lying at her feet.
Okay.
Yeah. Al will. Sure, Al will go over there and open it.
Once again, you're gonna have to do because it is a stone sarcophagus. It's the weight is similar to the marble tomb door. So once again, 1d100 if you get under 75.
All right, 25.
Okay. As you move it aside, far away from Patrick, the fellow gives another hiss and a whimper as he sees the stone top of the sarcophagus shift aside, apparently by its own. And sure enough, you grab the bottom of it, you push it aside. You don't unearth the entire thing, but you push enough of it aside. You can see skeletal feet, this rotting cloth just above the ankle, and at the base, the statue of a monkey. Just to remind you what the statue looks like, let me take you on over to that picture, the pictures of the statues. Give me a moment. There we go. The statue of the monkey hunched over, everything completely intact. Its tail, its arms, its legs, everything. And what might seem perplexing, I'm assuming, do you go to pick it up, or are you just looking at it right now?
I would pick it up.
Okay. As you pick it up, you notice that there's no dust or wear or tarnish on this thing, although it's been buried and not completely perfectly protected by the elements for quite a long time. It seems untouched. And as the figure seemingly floats in the air, nervously, the little toady person in the corner says, "Okay, now ask your questions quickly." And his eyes are just not leaving that statue.
Would any other player want to take up this?
No! It's all you.
Lavin's standing in the doorway, eyeing his blade.
Okay.
Yeah, nervously. He nervously takes it from hand to hand, almost fidgeting his hand, but not using it in a threatening way. If I swear, if this guy could push through the wall like the ghost, he would have. Like, he is pressed up against there like crazy. This is not how things are supposed to be. You hear him mutter.
Gosh, I guess I need to make sure that my questions are,
sufficient. Well, here's my suggestion. Just ask what you think, and before you either let them go or kill them or whatever you want to do with them, we'll once again ask the players if you missed anything, and then so be it, right? So don't get paralyzed. Just ask what comes to your mind, and, we'll see if the other players have anything else to add to it.
Is there more people taking these tests?
No, not that I know of, at least. The Order of the Lapine is an old and ancient society, and they hand-pick their initiates. I, from what I understand, was the first in 10 years. You see, they're powerful, and they're secretive, and not very many people come looking for the statues or the golden rabbit itself. So let's just say it's slow and exclusive. I was nurtured ever since I was initially interested in the dark arts. Appears all that time was wasted, and a few scant seconds by some unknown forces, my entire life goes topsy-turvy.
Where's the rabbit?
I have no idea. That is the most prized secret of the Order itself, and I am not privy to that knowledge. I would tell you otherwise. I'm sure you go taking a beeline straight for it. Oh, you would get their attention for sure, more attention than you would ever want.
Well, you're not terribly useful then, are you?
I have other uses. I have other warnings. I have other information. But I'm not going to just give it up willy-nilly. You gotta ask the right questions, I'm not a mind reader.
Where are your masters?
I only have one master that I know of, the one that has nurtured me and sometimes taught me the dark arts, although he is a cold and merciless teacher. But that's what I like about him. You might be slightly surprised, too. For he doesn't look like me. He's dapper and dignified and rich. It's an awful secret that I divulge to you. My master, one of the great leaders of the Order of the Lapine, is a man named Albert Sweet. You might recognize that name. That name,
I do,
is the name, yes, of the owner of the Grand Quarry Mining Group, as well as a few other industrial enterprises.
And
he is...
He is the owner of the Sparrow.
Yes, from your newspaper research, yes.
Mm-hmm. Paid like several, like 50,000 schmeckles back here.
Schmeckles. It's dollars.
Dollars.
1930s. Schmeckles. What's this, Rick and Morty? No.
I don't know.
Dollars. Bucks.
Yeah.
Moolas.
Smackaroons.
Like, yes. He paid $50,000 in 1930s money for the Sparrow.
Yes.
It was insane.
Yeah. Well, anyone else think of something you want to ask?
Yeah. Was your orders to guard this or specifically interrupt us?
My initial task many years ago was to simply watch over this little private piece of land and ensure no one came poking and asking about Eugene Neal. And if they were, I were to do everything I can to protect it. But I was supposed to do it insidiously. You understand, the Order doesn't like grand gestures, as he gestures around to the hanging rabbits and the rooms and everything like that. However, things that happened yesterday, I got myself a little message telling me it doesn't matter what the collateral damage was. It didn't matter if the entire graveyard was turned upside down. I was to protect this with all means necessary, including my life, to prevent you from getting this. You riled them up, and they might not be afraid of you, but they understand your power. Apparently, they don't understand it enough, or they would have personally been involved and wouldn't leave it up to me. I thought I was up to the task. You spoiled everything.
Do you know a Miss Johnson?
Mrs. Johnson. Johnson. No, it doesn't ring a bell, I'm afraid.
So, what happens if we turn him over to the police? I'm a little unsettled by him running off and doing this again somewhere else.
Don't do that, he says. Don't do that at all. Voice, spirit, sneak thief. If you do that, then you're killing me. When I say... Pardon me?
I was like, is he trying to insult me for being the spirit?
I don't care at this point of insults or your... His eyes look around wildly. Feelings, whatever or whoever you are. Voice. But when I said the Order of the Lapine is powerful, I meant it. They might not have the entire police department in their pocket, but they do spend their money wisely. And if I were to be in their control, I would be dead. No, I would be one of them a few days later. I don't want to be one of them. I don't want to be one of them at all. If you're going to turn me over to the police, then kill me quick and clean. But the deal was I told you everything and you let me go. I'm not kidding if I said I will never touch my feet to the dirt in the next 300 miles. I'm going far and I'm going for good.
Well, it's up to you guys.
When you say
it's up to all of us.
Yes.
Do you mean sort of shambling bodies, deformed in different ways?
Yes. Experiments, misanthropes, tormented souls, not live, not dead. Imagine, if you will, like shaping clay with your hands, or me shaping dead carcasses with my magic. This is beyond that. These are spawns of science and of torment. I have always thought that Sweet was involved in it, but I think he's just one of many. This is the pastime of the Order of the Lapine, and perhaps it lies even more a dormant secret. I don't know the ritual. All I know is that people disappear, and those same people become those monstrosities. And you know what's even worse? I've seen a few of them shamble on past. I've seen them grunt and speak, and I've seen their pale, milky eyes. I think they're somewhat still alive in there. I think they're trapped. I think they're tortured. I don't want that. No one wants that. You wouldn't want it, which is another reason why you should flee. Forget this. I have no idea why you're interested in the Order. I have no idea why you're interested in the statues, but it's a fool's errand. A foolish errand. There's my free warning to you.
So, here's the deal, gentlemen and ladies. I like to think that I've put certain parts of my past behind me. I have no interest in killing this guy. But I also don't like the idea of him running off and doing this. Al gestures around him uselessly. Again.
Hang on about that. Just one more question here. What is the Order of the Lapine's interest in all these statues? Like, what is the big deal?
The big deal is that they're protecting not the statues themselves. They're a key to a greater treasure, something called a golden rabbit. This one, he gestures to the sarcophagus, this one's husband went crazy, and rumors say that he created something foul of the earth. Imagine something natural but twisted on the flip side of nature. Instead of bringing light and warmth and food, it brings rot and death and tilled black soil. Apparently what he made, his own soul was infused to it. That might be rumor, that might be true, but all I know is that is a powerful artifact. And the Order of the Lapine wants to keep that artifact secret. There's a quasi-religious base, but they don't worship it. They protect it. And the statues apparently are linked to this golden rabbit. So to ensure no one ever finds it, they protect and guard the statues, and in doing so, protect and guard their sacred object.
Sorry to interrupt there, Sneak Thief. What were you saying?
No, I'm pretty much done. What do we want to do about this? Are you guys okay letting him run off?
He can't leave here alive.
No, wait. You want to make sure I can't do this again? He says, my black tome. You can have my black tome. I can't cast any incantations without it. With that, I'm pretty much back to square one. I'll know nothing. Everything my master taught me, everything from my own experimentation, my own skills, they're written in there. I'll hand that over to you, and you let me go. There, powerless. I can't hurt anybody.
He's fucking crazy. Look at this place. He cannot leave here alive.
Well, for one, we know how magic works. In fact, a few of us know magic. So, you don't need that tome. We know that. Two, you almost tried to kill us.
You think you know? Of course I tried to kill you. That's what I was paid for. But you were strong enough to defeat me. And you said you'd let me go. Now you're going back on that. Ha! Maybe you should join the Order of the Lapine.
I never said I'd let you go. He said he would let you go. And I point at Patrick.
Yeah, that's true. He did.
I did?
Yeah, you did.
He spits on the ground. He says, Fie upon you. He looks down at his worry twisted hands, and he says, once again he whispers, there's some things worse than death. If my only choice is to be killed by your hands, or to be brought in judgment by the Order of the Lapine, it's an easy choice. At least do me this favor, since I spilled my guts like a coward. Kill me clean.
Yeah, I have no interest in torturing you or causing you to suffer anything. I just can't let you go about doing this ever. So.
Also, Just to make sure that they can't just, like, come here and use your corpse for whatever, should we just burn you?
Nah, don't worry about that. The dark magic suite isn't interested in these necromantic pastimes. His magic is much more sophisticated, insidious.
I'm with burning him.
I'm with burning him. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go. I guess.
I mean, kill him first and then burn him. Otherwise, it's a pretty horrific death. More than he deserves, but still.
Well, you guys are in charge of killing. I'm just cleaning up the mess. Call me the janitor.
He shakingly gets up from the corner and he steps close towards the tomb, almost steadying himself against it, as he says, I can only hope that my life has pleased the Dark Ones, that my deceit and treachery is not seen as something wrong, but something accepted to them. Perhaps if I'm lucky, I'll go on to their dark embrace. If not, then I guess it'll just void. Either way, better than monstrosity. Stop your talking and jabbering on, and fucking do it.
Here, die with some dignity. Lavin pulls out a knife and throws it at the guy's feet. You do it.
Really?
Jesus Christ.
He says, taking the knife in his hands. I misjudged you. Sure. You won't listen to reason, but at least you let me go on my own terms. Now, I'm going to say some words you might not understand, but don't worry, it's not guarded towards you. It's a final ritual, final sacrifice. No, listen. Listen, it is a sacrifice to the dark gods, but of my own life. You understand?
No. No.
Take the knife.
Any words come out of your mouth I don't understand, that's it.
Fine, he says, grabbing a knife out and bringing it to the side of his throat, cuts his mouth, cuts himself in his neck from ear to ear, giving himself a second smile, if you will, as blood begins to course down his throat, and you can see him feebly trying to say other words. He staggers to his knees, blood now coating the top of the sarcophagus as he begins to drown in his own blood, his hands feebly clinging at the tomb itself, his eyes moving just at Lavin, since unless, Tom, are you inside the tomb or are you outside the tomb?
He would have moved outside and waited for whatever to happen.
Okay. So he just looks at Lavin because that's all he can see. Hal's still invisible. As his eyes begin to drain of life, and he slumps to his butt and then to his back. And after a few more gurgles, his body lies still. It doesn't move. He appears to be dead.
Now, he was talking about a tome or something. Was he gesturing anywhere, or? Like,
yeah, he was pushing towards his chest, and you can see the cloaks that he wears billows out, and there's clearly other clothes and other objects underneath.
Okay, I'm gonna go grab my knife and the tome and see if he's got anything else on him.
Okay, you searching his body, you do find a few things. Underneath his cloak, it's almost tied in like this sling. Across his torso, a small black book, approximately 2 feet by 1 feet long. 2 feet long by 1 foot wide. It is in black leather that doesn't have any writing on it as well. And if you open it up, you can see...
I wouldn't open it up. Open it up.
All right. You just take the tome It's heavy. It looks to be approximately about 50 pages, large. Searching the rest of his body, you would find a long, jagged knife, what appears to be a collection of vials and implements, most of them empty. However, some of them are stoppered with tar and cork, and inside what appears to be rotting flesh, an eyeball, and some sort of strange green slimy substance. You also see what looks to be like dentist tools or maybe medical tools. Something looks like a long thin scalpel. Another one, a little poker hook thing. A little small mirror. In addition, you find fragments of bone, teeth, bones of small animals, and alike. You find a small brown pouch filled with the same black sand as was in that zombie guardsman's mouth last encounter. You find a variety of writing implements, and you find an ink stopper, but instead of ink, it looks like and smells like congealed blood. Also, he has $50 on him. He doesn't have any other identification or driver license or anything of the front. And his money is just in his front trouser pocket.
Okay. I pocket money.
Mm-hmm.
I take his weird, jagged knife,
Mm-hmm.
the tome, and any vials with something still in them.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Al's going to cancel the invisibility spell.
So Lavin now has $90.
I toss the book to Patrick and give the vials to Al, and wipe off my hands and call it a day.
All right. we have the monkey out of the crypt, right?
Yeah, Al has it in his possession.
Yeah.
Now it's not floating. Now it's in non-invisible Al's hands.
Okay.
Al's actually going to hand it over to Patrick, who's more familiar with these.
Patrick, you now have a black tome.
Give you a tome.
Sorry, what was that, Patrick?
My bad.
Patrick hands the tome to Al.
Yeah.
Al,
Whatever.
Al goes outside and hands the tome to Tom and goes, "Can you burn this?"
All right. He's going to tell everybody to go start walking towards the car. Make sure you have at least 20 feet distance, and he's going to toss the book inside of the crypt.
Oh. I'm just going to stop and turn around.
What?
Why? It's going to look over to Al. What'd the book do?
It's a tome of probably spells that did this kind of thing. I'd rather if that information wasn't in the world. Are you telling me you'd really want to learn how to do this?
Patrick limps to a halt and then goes, "Magic has always been considered evil, and I have always considered it to be a tool. This I would probably never use, but I would like to see what else it has."
It'd be nice, and I grabbed it because it'd be nice to know what we're up against. But, I'm not going to be able to make heads or tails of that, so if we're going to burn it, whatever.
Al says, "All right, but then promise me we'll destroy it when you're done. I don't want that getting into hands I don't trust."
I will destroy any pages I feel unsavory, if that... I would at least show you the ones that I think that would help.
I've known you long enough to trust you, Patrick. But while I agree with you, more than anyone here almost, that magic is a tool, there are some tools that are just too nasty to survive. But I trust you.
Do you want... I can cherry pick the ones that you might like.
So I'm just going to get the book while this is happening.
Okay. Now,
then,
Tom. Okay, wait. Finish your conversation, but I have something for Tom when he goes back inside the tomb to get the book. So
okay.
No, Al just says, "Sure, show me the ones you trust." But, and he says, "Keep this between us. Julia still has the same prejudices I used to have. You wouldn't understand any of that yet."
If I'm in earshot of that, I think Lavin would say, surely she would understand knowing your enemy. It's not about us, wanting to raise the dead. It's, what are we up against here? What's this guy learning from his master?
That's not what I was referring to, but a fair point. Yes.
Patrick nods. He seems to understand what you're saying.
Got it. All right, then.
Okay. Tom,
Yes?
when you re-enter the tomb to collect the book, it seems very distant, very far away, but you think you can hear weeping. And it gets louder and louder. And it's not the long, baleful weeping of an enraged spirit. It's the soft, tinny, genuine weeping of a woman. And slowly, in the still flickering lantern light of the lantern on top of the tomb, at the head of the tomb itself, standing over the body of the dead toady necromancer, for lack of a better word, begins to appear a translucent spirit form, gray and wispy. But this one doesn't move to attack you. Instead, she sits on the edge of the tomb, of the sarcophagus. You can see it bears a great resemblance to the banshee-like woman apparition that attacked you mere minutes ago. But as she cries, you can see these white tendrils leak from her eyes and coat along her body. And as it does so, it makes her look younger, less rotten, less corpse-like. And after a few moments, she reappears as the translucent form of a older woman, perhaps in her late 60s or early 70s, her hair tied off in a bun, and her body in a long, elegant funeral dress. She turns around towards you and says in a soft, questioning voice, "Was that you? Did you kill him? Did you stop this?" And all of you from inside the tomb can hear this voice. Go ahead, Tom.
We gave him a knife and he killed himself. I was gonna burn the body.
Foul, twisted man. Lying in my final resting place. Thank you. I'm grateful. My spirit was torn from the hereafter, overcome with the guilt of my actions. But now, I will be freed in the morning light. Thank you.
Al will go back in hearing this, and he'll say, do you mind if we need the monkey?
My husband's statue. One thing I kept to remember him by. I gave so many of the others away. I suppose I can give it to the ones that freed my spirit. It will not abate my guilt, but yes, you may have it.
Why would you feel guilty?
Young man, She stands up and passes through Tom. And Tom, when she passes through you, you're not overwhelmed or, possessed or your mind flooded with memories, but you feel this small tinge of sadness and guilt for misdeeds in the past. Not your own misdeeds, but just a general misdeed. As she passes into the night air, all of you can see her translucent form get stronger and stronger as she strolls and circles around, walking along the grass of the graveyard. As she answers Al's question, when I was alive, I was married to my husband, Eugene. He was a brilliant mathematician, a great fiery mind, and so skilled with his hands and his art. But he became more and more obsessed. He became more withdrawn. He became unapproachable and even abusive at times. My Eugene changed to a man I never recognized, and in doing so, I gave into the affections of 2 other men. Oh, my 2 other lovers, I was unfaithful. I was a silly, stupid woman. The statues I mentioned, giving them away. When after my husband died, and I received his estate, his darn statues, the last likeness of his ability and his brilliance, I kept one, the monkey, my personal favorite. But I gave the other to my first lover, a fox. Both the statue and the young man, my lover, was like a fox. He was dashing, and a silken smooth voice, marvelous sense of humor. But just mere weeks after our tryst, he was so concerned about a scandal. What other people would say, nothing was really born of the affair. Oh, that sly man, such a smile on him. Lawrence Carter. I knew him for so many years, but the most marvelous thing is he never seemed to age. Still a youthful 30s, vibrant, good genetics, I suppose. Now I'm going to pause here for a moment in her little tale and remind you, you know who Lawrence Carter is.
Radio guy.
Yep.
Bingo.
Radio star. Yep.
Bingo. She says, my true love, other than Eugene, I gave him 2. Oh, since my husband became estranged, he became my second husband. Such a bold, adventurous man, hunter, explorer.
Hunter. It's fucking
filled with life and a million stories. A rhino I gave him to symbolize his bold, fearless spirit, and the turtle to symbolize his intelligence. Lawrence was cunning because of the fox, but Frankie, his intelligence was much more thoughtful and insightful, hence the turtle. She pauses for a moment. I kept the monkey to remind myself of the better days of my husband. The others I gave up for auction to pay for household debts. She looks over to the tomb and says, for what it's worth, what a beautiful house for me to lie restless in. You asked what I feel guilty of, young man. It's not just the affairs or breaking my marriage vows. That's wrong enough. But I betrayed my husband in another way, a worse way. I saw he became consumed and obsessed, and instead of a good partner and a good friend, I could have tried to help him. I could have tried to counseled him and taught him. I could have tried to understand him or bring him away from his obsession. Instead, I grew spiteful of his abuse. I didn't try to mend my marriage. I ran away. I ran away into the arms of other men, sweet, wonderful men. But I abandoned another sweet, wonderful man. I suppose it's only fair that I met my end the way it was. I didn't die natural, you know. I was murdered. Murdered in my sleep. By a friend. Her voice quivers a little bit and her form shakes some in memory of the event. As she continues, I slept peacefully one autumn evening, and that scoundrel crept into my room. I was always a light sleeper. The smallest noise would wake me up. I tossed and turned ever since I was a child. But he walked like the shadows where it was his home. I didn't hear him coming. Before I knew it, he lay his hands upon my head and whispered this foul language. She looks over into the tomb. Foul language I heard again tonight. Blackness overtook me, but it was a cold, creeping, uncomfortable darkness. And I saw his eyes. I saw the eyes of that family friend, that perfect patron to my husband, that killer, Albert Sweet. I do not know why he killed me. But here I am, dead, finally freed after so many years. I was pulled away from the void of my own guilt, and that toady little man made me recount every awful thing I did to my life. He possessed me like some sort of horrible creature. I am sorry I attacked you. I was not of my mind.
Real quick, hang on. It's out of character. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Do we know a Frankie?
Frank Patterson.
Frank, the crazy guy, man.
The crazy
hunter
guy who
with this
elephant
gun.
Oh, crap.
Yeah.
That's why he's not in my NPC notes. Oh, no. All right.
Yeah.
Right. I was like, but we got the statues from him. Okay, never mind. I'm
where did he get the statues?
I know. It makes sense now.
As soon as she said hunter, I was just like, oh, God.
I heard you, but I had to keep going.
Yeah, immediately as I heard hunter, I was like, oh.
You gave him to Bear?
So again, out of character, so we know Lawrence Carter might have the fox, and we still got to go see the nurse.
Yeah, and Donna Wright with the octopus. That's the nurse.
That's the last two.
Albert Sweet has the sparrow.
Well, yeah, and Albert Sweet. I was going to get to him in a second, but I guess in character, Al would say, "Well, I'm sure that you've suffered far too much for any wrongs that you may have done."
I hope you're right. I certainly hope you're right. Perhaps when I fade away this time, it will not be void. It will be something else. Who knows? All I know is I can feel now at peace. It's like all that guilt has been sponged out of me. I felt the feelings of 100 lives. I think it's finally time to end my spirit. Thank you again. I think until the morning light hits, I'm going to find a nice quiet place in here, one away from those foul doings of that horrible man, and just sit down and watch the sun and think of better things. Okay. You got
Cool.
11. Okie dokie. Anything else? We can not like wrap up this scene, but I can come over. Yeah, I can. What do you guys want to do next? Okay, stop muttering, Inferno.
So I should burn the body.
She looks behind her and she says, "My body is my body, just a material thing rotting. Do what you think is best."
Okay,
Patrick is about to correct something and then just closes his mouth.
Excuse me. Miss Ghost Lady. You need
Actually,
your body.
the body he's talking about is the one over there.
You asshole.
Yeah.
But we could burn your body too if you want. I mean, whatever.
I'm just gonna burn the cultist's body.
Okay, all right. You gonna pull him out of the tomb first, or are you gonna just roast him from inside there?
Just roast him from inside.
Okay, how big do you want to make the flames? Just cover his body so he goes into cinders, or
just cover his body. And I'm gonna try and make this fairly hot, so it'll be just ash. So he would.
How much XP are you gonna spend?
All right, this is going to be. He's going to try and do a mega damage pillar, but this is an STC environment. So
yes, so
he's gonna use
just very, 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 very hot. Gotcha.
Yes.
So yeah, use the MDC ISP.
Yeah,
but
which is 20.
This guy's gonna go up pretty quick.
Yeah.
As he does, as the flames cover him, sure enough, his flesh melts, his bone turns to cinders, and there is smoke from inside the tomb. But just for a moment, you think, Tom, you're not 100% sure, but you think you can see purple flecks inside the black smoke. Just little tiny specks of color in this black and white world. Just for a brief moment, before all that's left of that toady little necromancer is a small pile of white ash.
That's not worrying at all. So, why don't we get everything to the car and let's go. That's what I think. Unless we want to keep her company until morning.
Alicia says
we should totally not be here in the morning.
Yeah.
Exactly what Lavin said. She says this is insane and we want to be as far removed from this as possible.
Okay.
Yeah, we're already possibly suspects in a murder. Let's not be involved in the crazy graveyard vandalism something, whatever this is.
Yeah.
You're right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. With that, the spirit of Dorothy Neal drifts off to the southeast corner of the graveyard, once again giving her warmest thanks as you pack up your belongings and head back towards the entrance. Correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
You reach your vehicles, pack your belongings in, and prepare to drive off to...
Excuse me.
Where?
Well, we have Dex Delaney. We still need to try and warn.
It's 9 o'clock. It's like 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah, I agree. So I'm just saying, our
next goals. You're talking about next steps.
Yeah.
I understand. Okay.
Dex Delaney, even more than before.
Totally be in a pub at 10 o'clock.
Oh, it's very more. Yeah, good point. Very, very good point. Actually.
Yeah.
That's pretty normal. But before we decide, can I gotta go to the washroom and stuff?
Yeah, let's take a little break.
Sure.
Beauty. Okay.
Good idea.
That was very good, guys. You handled that extremely well.
Yeah.
I mean, all your decisions are good decisions, but I'm pleased with how that played out. That was fun.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I love you too.
What, Beth? What did you say?
I love you too. Man, so we only need 3. And we know where they are.
You know where they all are. You sure do.
I'm kind of thinking the next one should be as we planned, Donna Wright, but at the same time, like, we know Albert Sweet is the head honcho, so we could actually pull off Squee's idea from a week ago.
Let me try to correct something. He is the master, the person who taught the other person magic, not the head honcho of the entire group.
You got the impression he was a big player. He was a big player. He was more than just a middleman, but yeah, he might not be the absolute controller. It's called the Order of the Lapine, right? So
yeah, that's true.
There might be others, but Albert Sweet, by the sounds of it, isn't some guy who doesn't know, anything.
Yeah.
I hope Patrick's leg feels better.
It'll take a night or two of rest, but I mean, you can walk on it. But yeah, sure, it's definitely still tender. I'll be tender for a little bit.
We also need to figure out, like, Tom is down 9 SDC.
Mm-hmm.
And I know he got critted, with the main body.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think the injury would be?
Oh, I like to think a big chunk of flesh is out of there. like a nasty bite, a really nasty bite.
Okay.
Somewhere that isn't protected, like the ankle or the wrist, perhaps. Like, imagine, maybe not a chunk out of you. That's pretty gross. But imagine like a really bad animal bite.
Okay.
Yeah, imagine like a dog really, like not just a nip, like he bit you.
Yeah, let's say the wrist.
Okay.
So that's gonna take a bit to heal up.
Mm-hmm. Medical treatment obviously will make the healing a little bit faster, but yeah, definitely.
I got that. I don't have much magical healing left, so you might just get some bandages.
Yeah, that's fine. I'm down 9, so
yeah,
9 SDC
naturally.
So, yeah.
I don't think Squee heard you when you were talking about Albert Sweet, though, Mr. Tom.
Oh yeah, so we have the information that we needed before. Remember when you were saying, "Hey, let's just go for the jugular and just attack them"? Yeah. Now we know somebody who is really high up, if not the boss, and we could go after him. We know that Albert Sweet is definitely really involved.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. I completely agree. I don't know if he's the one in charge, but he is definitely big enough that it would certainly, like, I'm all for it, because the main idea of that is that I'd rather them be on the defensive than us be on the defensive.
Yeah.
And he even said it himself. They don't realize that we're this powerful. It's best that we act before they realize their mistake in underestimating us.
But I do think that we should warn Dex Delaney.
Yeah. I agree, and I think that Al needs rest. Al has got to be exhausted. I don't know, because the book is kind of vague on how using all your PPE makes you feel, but I gotta imagine that would exhaust him if he's down to 3 PPE.
If not physically, I'm sure mentally, for sure. I know in my life I felt quite a bit of mental exhaustion after doing a few things, so you can role play that for sure.
Dude, like almost after every TTRPG stream that we do, I need like at least an hour to get
decompress.
Yeah, because my brain turns to jello and I can't think of anything.
Oh, sweet. I'm turning your brain into jello right now.
It's true.
So a few things were brought up. Heading back to the Night Owl Lounge to touch base see if Dex is there, and talk with him as soon as possible. Even though you did leave a message for Dex to meet you at the Rhapsody as soon as he could. Obviously, you can go back to the Rhapsody, or you guys can go off somewhere else. Obviously, it's an open world.
I'm all for going back to the shitty pub.
Yeah, same
Night
here.
Owl
Try and find
Lounge.
decks.
Or I should say, Lavin is all for going back to the shitty pub.
Everyone cool with that?
Yes.
Yep.
Wonderful. All right, let me bring you over to the bright lights of Velda City. So, packing into your vehicles, the headlights turned on. Both Lavin and Patrick each drive a vehicle apiece, going back down that dirt road with the shady pine graveyard disappearing in your rearview mirror. Driving along the dark country roads for approximately 15 minutes, you are greeted by the flashing, vibrant lights of Velda City itself. And the quiet rural sounds are replaced by the hubbub of traffic, of horns, of laughter, and of music spilling out from a variety of nightclubs, bars, speakeasies, and street musicians. The city comes to life at 10 o'clock, and you are certain at the Rhapsody your other friends are dealing with a rambunctious crowd. You, however, are guided towards much more humbler and frankly dingier establishments as you, about 30 minutes after you depart the graveyard, about 10:30 at night, you slide in front of the Night Owl Lounge. Now, many other bars and even the Rhapsody itself would have trouble parking. In fact, the Rhapsody, if you remember, has that awesome stacking car doohickey. The Night Owl does not have such establishments, and it appears that they don't have a whole lot of vehicle traffic because you're able to park pretty darn close to the curb nearby the lounge itself. Departing, you do hear the sounds of a record playing, a woman singing this long, soulful, bellowing song inside the lounge itself. And as you swing open the padded door, you are assaulted both by smoke and the murmurings of 90%, actually all gentlemen in the club, smoking cigarettes and cigars, looking at their drinks sadly, bringing them into their mouths, drinking from dingy glasses. As you enter the pub itself, many eyes turn to see these new onlookers, and two sets of eyes you recognize. The first is the mustachioed bartender you talked to earlier in the morning, and as he meets your eyes, he pats the figure in front of him, a gentleman in a trench coat and a long hat, and the narrow face as it turns around on its stool is none other than Dex Delaney. He gives a sarcastic little smile over towards you, his eyes looking curiously as he pats the empty stools next to him. A cigarette in one hand and a drink in the other. Wait, I gotta play his music.
Oh, yeah.
Where is he? Yeah.
We find that music's playing, we just come in. You gotta go! By the way, is it safe to say that we cleaned up before we walked in there? Because we're probably covered in stuff. You know, dead juices.
Jesus. Well, some scuffs and whatnot. You probably have like a few rags or hankies around you or on your clothes to wipe off the sweat and the grime. I don't think you'd have time to like shower, but the worst of it would be off of you for sure. Oh yeah, and blood.
Yeah, like the idea is that so that when we walk in there, we might look like, you know, we've had a rough night, but we don't look like we just came from a war.
Just take your long coat off, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then, yeah, everyone would have a couple bandages on them, or at least Patrick, Al, and Tom.
Patrick will just be in the car because I'm quite sure the entirety of one of his legs is a completely different color than the other one. This pant like that is.
Oh yeah.
Okay. So Alicia, Bear, and Patrick will stay in the vehicles.
Plus, it'd be really dark in there.
Oh, it is. It is. The few lights that are burning are masked by the smoke in the place. Looks like you had a rough night, says Dex.
You say that?
Yeah.
Just putting it mildly. Can I go get a whiskey and a... You sell cigars?
Yeah, of course we do. We got Smets and we got Jackson's.
Beauty. I don't care which. Surprise me. How much does this cost me?
Dex waves his hand and he says, "Put it on my tab there, Charles." The gentleman shrugs and he says, "All right." As a wrapped cigar is placed next to a whiskey glass, and that whiskey glass is soon filled with a bubbling liquid, well, not bubbling liquid, but with a smooth liquid.
Sparkling whiskey.
Sparkling whiskey. Carbonated whiskey! As Dex says, "Charlie here gave me your message. I was going to see you right in the morning. It appears you folks are impatient, and by the looks in your eyes, something's got you motivated."
Well, I was thinking he was going to say spooked.
I would say that is.
Shut up! You're in the car, Pat. No, not you, Hal. Sorry, I was talking to Pip.
Yeah, that's fine.
Action.
I would say that's one way of putting it. Yes, we need to talk about your job, but not here.
Of course not here. Too many years. Why don't you sit down, have yourselves a drink? We'll talk of nicer things, and then... Charles, can we use your back alley? Charles gives a nod. We'll talk there, unless you want to go to another location, but I've had a few. He gestures to his empty glass, so I'm not on for long strolls right now.
Al says, "I'm fine with talking there, though I really don't have much time."
I see, he says. As Dex turns over towards Lav and he says, "I guess you better down that whiskey like a sailor, then."
No problems with that. Down the hatch.
You'd make the Royal Navy proud, boy. Dex gives a bit of a snicker as he stands up slowly from his stool. Charlie escorts you to a back room, past a kitchen that might look even dingier than the lounge itself, through a back door into a back alley. A single lone light with a few moths fluttering around it illuminate the alleyway as Dex shrugs up the collar of his jacket and leans against the brick wall. "So, are you here to fire me? It's too bad. I found some interesting information."
Fire you? No. Warn you and give you the option to get out of this while you can if you choose to. But fire.
All right. Well, it sounds like you have a lot to say, so let's hear it first. It makes it sound like the little gossip I picked up from is nothing. Dangerous, you said. He gives a bit of a grin. The second you walked into my office, I knew there was something behind this. I knew there was danger. The masked looks you gave each other, the ambiguity of reason why you're looking for this golden rabbit, and the legend itself. Nah, I knew this wasn't a cakewalk. I took this for more than a few reasons, and who knows, he says, rolling the cigarette in between his fingers. Maybe I have myself a bit of a death wish.
All right. Al says, kind of exhaling and leaning up against the wall. Let's start from here and work our way up.
Oh, it's a good way to go.
We're not from here. And I don't mean this city. I mean this place. We're from a place where color still exists. and we're very new to all of this.
Color exists here too, says Dex. He points to your black and white shirt. You know, that's green, that's red. But I think you don't mean that. I think you mean the same things I see in my dreams.
I think I do too.
And where's this far-off land you're from, huh? Is it Never Ever Land, or is it someplace else?
If they're names you've never heard of, would it matter what I call them?
I guess not. Good point. So, you're from way, way, way out of town. I don't suppose I should ask how you got here. I don't think you took the Route 92 bus, right?
No, it was a bit more colorful than that. Well, you're with me so far, so I'm just going to cut straight to it. The people we're dealing with, apparently, have the ability to bring things back from the dead and create monsters and abominations.
Dex rolls his tongue in his mouth a little bit. He doesn't say anything at first. You got more, or are you waiting with bated breath to my reaction to that revelation?
I'm gauging you, yes.
All right. Well, since you like to cut through it, so will I. If you told me this 4 years ago, I'd smile politely, finish my cigarette, and then call the local quacks at the asylum. Carry you off, make sure you're not touched, make sure you're not dangerous. But I might have said I saw things back in Balzac. I implied, in fact I said I was haunted by other things. I might have seen things unnatural, things you don't see in the regular world. And moving dead? That sounds pretty similar to what I came across in Balzac. So, does it surprise me? Yes. Does it worry me? Oh yeah. And does it scare me? Yeah. A man with a death wish or not still has those human emotions. But I ain't gonna call you in. I want to hear more.
Okay. And then Al will proceed to tell him in detail everything. The trip to the museum, how they went to the museum and they may have stolen the statue, but the man was very much alive when they left. And the encounter at Frank Patterson's house and the encounter at the graveyard leading up into
You don't tell him about Tyrath, right?
No, do not tell him about Tyrath.
Okay, all right. Well, you
Tyrath
just tell
likes
me
his privacy. Yeah.
Also,
Tyler
there's a
likes
sword
his-
in my arm.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like in the Terminator, you know that scene where he cuts his arm, you know?
Yeah.
No, I don't. I ain't seen a flick in a couple years, and I don't know anything called a Terminator. It sounds like some sort of pest exterminator, right?
Something like that.
But he says, so, just so we're on the same page, and I don't hold this against you, I might have done the same thing. When I came to see you at your little club this morning, you kind of just led me along now, didn't you?
Well, yes. We were a little shocked by how brutally they had reacted, and Al shrugs. There would be no way to tell someone that hasn't experienced what you experienced, what happened, without sounding crazy.
Yeah, crazy. You gotta step real careful not to sound crazy in this town. He says, it might take your interest. He goes back a moment and he says, well, if you told me you were involved with the antiquarian, I might have been suspicious. There's no reason why you might not have killed this guy. But let's just say there's more evidence that has developed. This scuffle at Patterson's place. I already talked with some folks. Emergency vehicles headed over to his neck of the woods. And apparently there was a gas leak. It got into the locals. They saw the craziest stuff, but it was all just a hallucination because of the gas, you see. There's some explosions, some smears. Right now, the initial investigators, they think that Frank went off his rocker, left the oven on, and vamoosed. They can't find him, but they want him in for questioning. Now, between what happened at the antiquarian and at Patterson's place, I'm starting to think that maybe there's a cleanup crew that comes in after you stop on by. I would want to keep a real eye on Shady Pines. See if other explanations aren't made up.
That makes sense.
It makes sense, but it's actually a terrifying complication, you see. It means individuals have enough flex, have enough pull to manipulate the truth. Oh yeah, Dex takes a long drag. I'm real glad I picked up your case, and that ain't sarcasm. I think this is gonna really make my name. But we're gonna have to act real careful, you see. 3 times you've walked in, and 3 times they had to cover things up. Eventually you're gonna make a mistake, or they're gonna make a mistake, and things are not gonna end up well.
To be honest with you, I have half a mind not to wait that long.
Well, don't leave me in suspense there, knife ears. What are you thinking?
They're underestimating us. They don't realize that we're strong enough to take them on head to head. They will realize it soon. I'm thinking we might need to act before they do.
Dex pauses for a moment and stamps out the cigarette underneath his shoe heel, and he says, "And how do you plan on doing this? Storm in, guns blazing? That'd be a perfect excuse to have you locked up and throw away the key."
Oh, I agree. I don't have a plan yet, but someone who may be powerful enough to manipulate the law and cover things up would have a hard time dealing with us directly. We'd have to be subtle about it in some ways, I agree, but the problem is they've already shown a willingness to take this to public. And I don't know what they're willing to stoop to, but I have people that I want to protect. I don't want to play a game of cat and mouse.
Dex says they don't want to take it public. They're covering it up.
Yeah.
They're sweeping it up behind you. They're willing to take extreme moves, attacks, and moving bodies and stuff, but they're not stupid. They cover it up afterwards.
What they're potentially exposing, I would imagine, is whoever they have in the police force in their pocket.
Yeah, that's my suggestion. The more we pry into these statues, the more we're going to get their attention. Who knows what else they might have in mind. And probing questions, and I've asked a few today, is just going to get their attention. I agree, we don't want to react. No one wants to react. So my suggestion is we attack it a different way. As your tall friend, your whiskey drinking pal, he gives a laugh and a small smile and a nod, suggested, and I have to agree. There's only one force almost as powerful as the politicians, and that's the police in Velda City. And it's clear a big decision maker is in the pocket, or a couple of them. We find them out, we neutralize their ability to cover things up. Then we do what you want to do. That way they're exposed. they'll be afraid. They won't be able to cover anything up. Maybe they won't act so drastic.
Not a bad idea.
Hey, out of character, I just got an idea.
A disembodied voice.
Yeah, this is why it's
Yes,
out
conscience?
of character.
It's out of character, yeah. What's up, Piff?
So, we've already did a lot of loud noises and stepping stones and whatnot. Maybe they don't know it's us. What if, and there's already a person poking around, what if we actually made a lot of this ruckus and then pointed it towards somebody that we know that is part of the, or maybe some inner turmoil. Maybe somebody who is cunning and usually does underhanded things. Maybe the fox.
I like this idea a lot. I would say that there is a chance they do know it's us, because if they had interrogated the guy at the museum before they killed him, he would have told them the Rhapsody was for the people involved. But I do like that idea.
Are you talking about like framing that fox guy, or what?
Well,
Lawrence Carter?
more just spreading a few tits and bobs and things like that. There might be some rumors, or maybe a very small paper trail, or maybe for Dex Delaney that he got hired through mysterious means.
Yeah. Because it's true, Dex Delaney hasn't told who's hired, though. So he could give hints that he's working on behalf of Lawrence Carter.
The question is whose rumor mill is stronger.
Well,
True.
I like the idea. I'm all for it. Like I said, we still should best assume they know it's the people in the Rhapsody, but that doesn't mean that we can't use this. It doesn't mean that we're the ones that hired Dex Delaney. All they know is we were the ones at the museum.
Yep.
So,
Well,
yeah.
Lavin would ask Dex,
Yeah.
striking a high-ranking police officers or whatever seems like a tall order. Do you have a plan? Because I don't even know how you would begin to approach something like that.
Dex says, from my point of view, I have a lot of friends on the force, and I hear a lot of dirt. Although I do have to admit, it's mostly lieutenants and a couple captains, nothing higher than that. But I hear tell of some vigilantes in town that have the cops in their pocket. A group called the Ferocious Five. Maybe if we hunted them down, they apparently have a direct link to the police department. Maybe they know where the pushes, the pulse is.
I will look at Tom and go, we have a link to the police department?
We have a link to the police department?
No one told us this.
Yeah.
Do we look ferocious?
Heads up. Just because it was a while ago. But you know that police captain that Patrick helped from being drunk?
Oh, shit,
and he's like,
right.
Oh, that's okay. I looked the other way. I know what you guys are really about. Arthur Green, the chief of police.
I remember there was a cop. I didn't know he was in our pocket.
Yeah, I kind of remember that conversation.
No. Dex says he has rumors of the pocket. It's true. He's not in your pocket. This is just shit that Dex heard.
Right. Okay. I was gonna say, yeah, I remember the conversation, and I thought that might be a guy to talk to, but I was like, Still, Al would say that to Tom. He'd be like, we have a link in the police department? No one told me this.
I mean, this is the first time I'm hearing of it, too.
Dex says, no, not you, the Ferocious Five.
No, we are the Ferocious Five.
Hi.
For the first time, I mean, when you talked about moving corpses, Dex kept his cool. When you're talking about all this outlandish shit, he was quiet, dragging his, smoking a cigarette. But this is the first time he opened his eyes in surprise, and for a moment he's speechless as he grabs another cigarette And he puts it to his mouth and he says, "Well, that's the first genuine surprise I got, well, in a long time."
You
want
want a little
another?
bit more surprise?
Who
Yeah.
did you think the Ferocious Five were?
Here, let me see your cigarette.
Vigilantes who had enough flex not to hire some private dick, but I guess I was wrong about that.
Well, here's the thing.
Damn it.
Remember I told you we're not from here. Well, when we arrived here, things were a bit disorienting for us, and we were told by, well, everything around us that we were the Ferocious Five and that we had taken down the Djinn Baron. But the truth is, whether we're replacing real people or not, we didn't actually do that. It's just everyone around us seems to think that we did.
Dex pauses for a moment. He says, "If that's true, if that's just all fictitious narrative, then I guess the big question is who spread those rumors? Who made that fact?" And Dex pauses and he says, "This isn't just some gossip from one housewife to another. I have dependable leads, both in and out of the police department. The ones that rub shoulders with the underworld, and some that rub shoulders with powerful politicians. And they all agree that the Ferocious Five really cleaned up this city, and they had done so for quite some time. So this brings up two very important questions. Who's the real Ferocious Five that drove the Djinn Baron out? And who's strong enough to spread these rumors?" Dex pauses for a moment. He says, "I don't suppose this rabbit order, they have a lot of connections. Do you think they spread the rumor? It doesn't seem to make sense. Why would they do that?"
There's another possibility here that is going to be pretty fantastical, but not impossible, and in some ways makes more sense. There's people out there strong enough to create things that are undead. It's possible there's someone behind this, some big player that is manipulating things on a much grander scale than we are talking about. After all, this entire place it shouldn't exist. Dex, I don't see color. I see black and white no matter where I look, unless there's very powerful magic around. That's not possible. It means something very powerful is at work here. Something powerful enough to shape reality itself to where maybe we are the Ferocious Five.
Shape reality, mass illusions, mass mind control, implanted memories. Who knows?
You said that my shirt was green. You see color? Whenever you look around you right now, you see color.
That shade is green. That's what everyone calls it. That's what green looks like.
Inferno.
Yeah.
Is there enough of the differences in shades in this world that people could just think different shades of gray are different colors? Okay.
Sure. Yeah, it isn't like literally black and white. It's like grayscale. It's like a black and white movie. It's not really black and white. It's grayscale.
Out of character, have we done anything ourselves strong enough to create color like Tyrath did?
No, not yet.
The only
Except
time...
for the flash of the holy weapons.
Yes.
But that's only when we're killing stuff, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. So let's not go
Please
that.
don't stab Dex. I like him.
Dex, I'm afraid you might be a demon, but here's some color.
Oh!
I would say just
I see what you mean.
take my word for now when I tell you that the colors you see are nothing compared to what it should be.
Dex looks wistful up into the starry night sky. And he says, maybe you're right. We're talking about global conspiracies, and those that go bump in the night, controllers' illusions. You said to start from the bottom and work their way up. I suggest we do the same. Let's worry about one possible insidious conspiratorial organization and maybe leave pulling seams at reality itself to the next step. Baby steps, you understand. Gotta crawl before you walk. Gotta walk before you run.
I can get behind that. If you can make a promise to us.
Promises are powerful things. I need to hear what you need to know first. I want to hear you first, that is.
You may have a death wish, but the last thing we need is your death on our conscience. Don't try and take them on by yourselves.
Don't worry, I'm not wacky. I'm no twit. I might have a death wish, which means I sign up for crazy jobs like this. But it doesn't mean I ain't careful. And it sure doesn't mean I got people I care about too, you know. I have no interest in putting them in the crossfire. You don't worry about me. I'm going to be as soft as a kitten walking on cotton.
Being honest here, Dex has shown more reserve than we have. I'm more concerned about them going after him than him going after them.
Agreed.
Tell you what, says Dex. If something does happen, if I get spooked, I'm going to be real careful. But maybe the questions I ask are getting the attention that we don't want. Maybe I unearth something that is dangerous. Maybe I come across some freak in an alley and he's more of a freak than I expected. I got a safe house south of town. A little shack owned by my grandfather years and years ago. A cabin, really. It's a hideout that I've used a few times when I rub shoulders with wrong folks. A good place to disappear for a little while. I'll give you the address and a small little map. And if I disappear without a trace, you find me there. And if I'm not there, then, well, that means something bad, real bad happened. But, like I said, I'm careful.
Well,
and I don't fight like you.
That's great and all, and I trust your judgment, but just as an option, we got some people guarding the Rhapsody. If you run into trouble, go there, yeah. It's closer, for one thing, but I trust your judgment. It's up to you, but the option's there.
Dex says, I'm used to taking care of myself, and I don't know the Rhapsody as well as you do. And, Dex pauses. You said you might be the Ferocious Five, you might not be, you fell into this world, this dream, this reality that I've been living in for so long. Makes me think that the Rhapsody might be part of it, right?
Well, yeah, except we got like 6 guys from the Rhapsody that came with us, or 10, or I don't know. How many?
Don't make me count.
No, I'm looking it out. Let me look it out. I don't know. Yeah. How many guys we bring with us?
Al's like a lot.
Here's the other thing. How much booze do you have at your little shack?
All right, tell you what, a compromise. If something spooks me, or if I think I need a little bit of extra muscle, extra protection, I'll go to the Rhapsody first. But if things get real strange, I'm gonna go to my backup plan. You understand?
I trust your judgment.
Appreciate it, says Dex as he finishes his second cigarette, blowing the last remains of smoke into the air. Got anything else for me? Is the president a reptile man? Is the queen really from outer space? Any other mind blowers you want to leave with me? Ferocious Five.
Who's the queen?
Queen of England.
Oh.
You know.
We're not in England, are we?
No. We're in the good old US of A. Home of the free and all that jazz.
We'll have to take your word for it.
So, next steps. You want to explore your police connections? Or are we going to take this another way? I did find some dirt on on Donna Wright, if you want to hear it, but
definitely.
All right.
I think another good thing to do would be to, as you suggested, keep tabs on that graveyard and see who comes to clean up.
Agreed.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. We could send Alicia or somebody like that, a couple guys to go just keep an eye on it.
If we know who's working against this in the police, it'll be a lot better when we reach our contact.
Yeah. Hell, we could even document, right?
Yeah. And truth be told, with everything that we've told you, none of it really counts as proof.
True. How about we meet in the morning? I can sleep off this whiskey surprise and we can collaborate on a proper way to take the next steps.
I think that's a good idea.
Fine with me.
Great. Well, don't get yourself captured, says Dex, as he smooths out the neck of his jacket as he walks back into the bar.
All right. Well, I don't know about you guys.
Dex is gone.
Yeah. Al's gonna be like, I don't know about you guys, but I'm tired.
God, doesn't the alley seem quiet once Dex leaves?
It's a little odd, yeah. That man does seem to have a certain persona around him.
Yeah.
You guys are assholes.
It's like all the colors gone out of the world. Guess we're going back home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Head back to the Rhapsody. You drive along the Rhapsody. Is there anything you guys want to talk about while you're in the vehicle, or I can just stop you right up at the Rhapsody itself? Up to you.
Could we say that we had that conversation we had out of character with Patrick in character?
Yes. Is there anything else you want to add to that idea, Piff?
Yeah.
Now that you're talking in character in regards to this?
To add. Well, that was more of a generalized plan. I can't think of anything at the moment.
Well, the thing about that plan is we can kind of do it in combination with everything else, right? Like, it doesn't require a vast amount of resources. We just do it as well.
I mean, we can talk about the how, of course, but
yeah, it's a low cost plan of action.
Yeah, I agree. It's something that we could set in the wings, especially if we want to go with the Dex Delaney route, that he's the one that hired Dex to look into this. But I think that would be something, yeah, like before making detailed plans, we should at least meet with Dex again, see what he has.
We'd also might want to run past putting Dex in a line of, because how does that impact Dex if we say that he was hired by, I'm sorry, I forget the rich guy's name.
Lawrence Carter.
Lawrence Carter. Yeah. If we say Dex was hired by Lawrence Carter, does that put Dex at risk?
Lawrence Carter is the radio fellow. Albert Sweet is the rich fella.
Right, but Lawrence Carter was the foxy one, the tricksy one.
Right.
The foxy one is Lawrence Carter.
Right. Yeah, we were talking about him because she was saying that he was always clever and cunning. So we thought that it might be good to use him as the scapegoat.
Oh, I was confused because I thought we were talking about
Albert Sweet.
Yeah.
Well, Albert Sweet might be one of the top guys. It'd be much harder to convince the top guys that one of the top guys are against him.
It's an inside job. He did it all.
It was from the top all along.
It was you all this time betraying yourself. But the thing is that it might put Dex in more trouble. However, that said, he's already been asking around. He probably is already going to be in their crosshairs.
Yeah. I just think, we should definitely run it by him.
Agreed. Oh, totally agreed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Technically, we couldn't even be having this conversation in the cars because Lavin and Patrick are driving different cars.
Yeah, I guess it's true. Well,
I could be shouting at the window, Patrick, your plan.
Yeah, so about that plan.
That secret plan.
I'm going to have to decline that offer, guys. I really don't think Patrick would do that. As well as, I think that'd be a terrible idea to shout our plans.
Okay. All right. Should I not wrap up the scene, but should I have the next scene be at the Rhapsody? Are you guys good to continue?
Yeah.
I think so.
You drive up, you pull out at the Rhapsody. A few locations are reserved for your vehicles around back. And as you circle around the front of your wonderful little nightclub, you can see that things, sure enough, are rip-roaring away. However, when you go through the front entrance to McLaughlin, acting as a lone bouncer due to Bear being out on the excursion with yourself, moves up to you and he says, there's a couple of people at the bar. They've been asking around for you. They really want to talk with you. They seem they seem like they know you or something. And just want you to know that they're at the pub. If anything breaks out, if there's any trouble, you let me know and I'll help you sort them out. They seemed creepy.
Can you do us a favor?
Yeah.
Can you bring us a fresh set of clothes so that we look a little bit more, and he'll look down, presentable?
Well, here, that might work, but why don't you go through the back entrance, through the green room, and up to your quarters?
Yes, I agree.
Get cleaned up there, and they're waiting at the bar. They've been there for, oh man, a couple hours now.
Okay.
Man and a woman. Okay, no problem.
Yeah, guys, I think it's a good idea we get cleaned up before we talk to anyone else.
Yeah,
definitely.
Sure. All right. As you guys go upstairs, you can hear the thumping of the band and Marlis Stotch conducting and August playing on the piano, Basilisk and Ezex tending the bar. Alicia has been gone, so Yasmin stepped up to kind of be the floor manager to make sure everything is, in order. And when you go upstairs, you meet with Blink and Frank Patterson. Would it be fair that you explain, what has happened? What has happened?
Yeah. At least
Frank gets very agitated and rants a little bit about dark powers and how he told them, how he told you. We won't get too much into that. It's mostly just a lot of, I told you so, and you have to be careful, and they're everywhere, even where the dead lay, and etc. etc. But he's very excited that you managed to get another of the statues, and he says that the pieces are coming into place. Blink is more concerned about your well-being and, more importantly, the security of this place. She informs that there's two folks. They seem a little bit older, but they've been asking around for you. And they've been very sure of themselves and very secretive. They're at the bar, but everyone's kind of keeping an eye on him. And just for safety's sake, even though Lee doesn't like to hang around the Rhapsody very much because of the alcohol, and Jalea is still a little overwhelmed, so she likes to be out of doors, both of them are up here in the bedrooms in the second floor, just to make sure everyone's together in case anything might happen.
Do we know their affiliation?
They say they run the Antiquarian and Angus. Yeah.
Also, you say they're asking for us. Who exactly are they asking for?
They're asking for the owners of this place. And they pointed to some pictures that were posted around town. of Ellie, Mila, whoever you want to call her, but she freaked out and she's hiding in her space. So,
right. Well, we're gonna get a little more presentable, and then we'll go talk to the owners of the antiquarian. This should be fun.
You need anything, you let me know. All right, says Blink.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lawyer. That's my first guess. I mean, I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
Tell you what, actually, in case you, though, knowing you're probably already working on this, if they decide to come for us like they did Frank, we should have some sort of plan.
There's so many people, Blink says, though. Do you think they dare?
Oh, no, not right now. I think if they came, they'd come sometime in the day or late at night when no one's here. I was just saying that security is your forte. You would probably be better at coming up with anything than we would be.
Yeah, she says, certainly I'll draw up a plan and let you know what I think.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Anything. She gives Tom a little smile, a reassuring squeeze. As you guys go ahead and get yourselves cleaned up. Shower, warm bath, fresh, shampooing in your hair, and some fresh clothes. Once you're all changed, who wants to head down to the bar and talk to your impatient guests?
Did you say bar?
Yeah, they're down. Oh,
did say bar.
Did I fucking stutter? Just being an asshole.
I know.
All right, who's coming? Who's going on down?
Whoever may be going down, Patrick would suggest to them to put forth maybe a service of the Ferocious Five instead of a questioning about all of it. Like, try to seem like you're giving help to the situation than anything else. Remember, we're supposed to be the good guys.
I'm not sure I understand exactly.
Hey, so do you need any help tracking down the problems at your place? Right? That kind of thing?
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it.
So
I think.
Go in there assuming they're coming to us for help or something. Got it. Yeah, sure.
I like it.
Yeah. All right, so yeah, I'd clean up, splash some water on my face, try and take a few minutes to kind of recover, I guess, and go down.
All right, as you head down to the bar itself and go through, you weave through the exciting conversations of various patrons who are eating and drinking and laughing and most importantly dancing. However, there are a couple figures who do not seem to be up in the same jovial mood. A gentleman in a tweed jacket, relatively tall, slightly balding as well. A stern, not stoic look, but a stern look on his face and a strong jaw. He looks to be like he's pushing 60 or so. Next to him is a small, mousy-looking woman, maybe about half his size, thin as a rail, and in a very plain but very clean dress. Both of them look and reek of old money and old sophistication, and out of the relatively modern styles, modern for 1930s, styles of the young folks laughing and drinking around them, they definitely seem like they're from another time or place, at least a couple decades back. Basilisk and Ezex are tending the bar, with Yasmin nearby at the edge. Her eyes are always on this pair, and she sees you. She gives a nod over towards them, indicating to you who to speak with, if you weren't so obviously aware. She stays sitting on the stool, the same stool at the end of the bar that Miss Johnson was during your opening night. Miss Johnson is nowhere to be seen, nor is the chief of police or the mayor or any of your other erudite customers. With that, what do you guys want to do?
Lavin's going to go behind the counter of the bar and pour himself a drink and offer any drinks to the to people who want to talk to us.
To the pair?
Yeah. Like any amenities that we could offer them, kind of thing,
All right.
Be a host.
The gentleman says, "Oh, that's all right there, lad. I'll just nurse the little bit of scotch I have here, and Rosie." And Rose shakes her head, and Angus gives a bit of a smile. Rosie doesn't drink. She'll stick with this sarsaparilla.
You don't mind if I...
Oh, of course. This is your establishment, right? Asks Angus curiously.
I'll go straight.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I was going to say I'll go straight to the Starkabosu bottle. And
now, normally I thought you kept that up in your kitchen upstairs.
Oh, then he's bringing one down. He's had a hell of a night.
Okay, fair enough. You'll bring down with a drink in your hand. All right.
Yeah.
So Alan Lavin is there. Tom, Patrick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there.
Okay,
Yes.
Patrick, as you approach the bar, Ed begins to vibrate a little bit. Still on that same setting. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's vibrating. Not as powerful during the graveyard, but it's shuddering. There's a supernatural evil force around. As the rest of you come to the bar, Angus gives a small smile and he says, "Oh, we've been waiting for you. We've been eager to meet the owners of this establishment, to give our regards and to ask a few curious questions." Oh, my apologies. I haven't properly introduced myself. I'm Angus Mackenzie, owner and curator of the Antiquarian, and this is my lovely wife, Rose. He smiles over towards Rose as he says, "She's the art director. As you can imagine, we've had a horrible few days.
Yes,
we figured we'd come here for a few drinks and to ask a few questions. You're popular folks, and you might be able to assist." Angus gives a small, confident smile.
First of all, I'm sorry for your loss of your employee.
Yes, our dear friend Hugo. Oh, we met him, Rosie? And Rosie kind of gives a shrug, and Angus says, "Oh, at least a decade ago. Such a smart young man to be killed in his prime. A shame." Angus gives a look towards Al and Lavin and Tom and Patrick, and he says, "But they'll catch the murderers. I'm sure of it. I have faith in our justice system, you know. No one can escape a crime just like this." Sorry, what was that?
Do you have any idea who it might be?
"No," says Angus, bringing up his face. "I don't. However, it does delve into the reason why I'm here." And he goes into his tweed jacket and he takes out one of the many little posters that were sprawling around the city, and he lays it on the bar, and sure enough, you can see Ellie's smiling face on it. And he says, "We've been talking to some of the workers, as have the police, and the day before his murder, apparently Hugo was meeting with a collection of individuals. Now, they didn't hear the conversation, but they did recognize one face. She's a famous one, your little cupcake," he says, patting on there, and you can see Rose give like a scowl when Angus calls her a cupcake. He goes, "Oh, I'm sorry, dear. I didn't mean that in an affectionate term. She's a trollop. Look at her." And Angus continues.
Me? That's our friend.
"Oh, well then, my apologies, but any friend like that dressed like some sort of burlesque model..."
I think you don't want to finish that sentence.
I see. Well, regardless of my opinion on the young lady, that doesn't really matter. And it brings me to the important point, which is a few of our workers recognized her meeting with our good friend Hugo. So we wanted to meet with her, to chat with her, to see if there was anything that she might remember, anything suspicious that Hugo might have said or anything alike. Then they mentioned that there was a group of folks, and I thought maybe her friends were with her. Maybe you were with her too. Did you visit the antiquarian?
We did, actually.
Perchance? You
we
did?
were hoping to schedule some form of group guided tour. We're new to the city, and we thought that it would be a good, what's the word? Team building exercise to have the employees here go to the museum and learn a bit about the local culture and history. Unfortunately, he had mentioned that he'd have to speak to you about it, and we parted ways amicably. And then, of course, what happened, and we didn't think that you were in a condition to follow up just now.
Oh, says Angus, carefully, taking a sip of his drink before putting it on the bar. A small smile, a little twinkle in his eye. He goes, I see. But unfortunately, poor Hugo's life was cut short. He never did get that tour then.
Well, no, but that hardly seems important now.
Oh, that's true. That's very true. Well, he looks over towards Rose, and Rose gives a small, pert nod. Yes, Rose is of the same mind. We can't give you a tour of the antiquarian. You see, it's a murder scene, and it's filled with, such some awful memories. But if you want to get antiquated at the city, it's no better folk to show you around and to tell you than us. The Mackenzies have been in Vale City for a very long time, you see. Why don't you come over tomorrow night for dinner? We'll show you around of some of our private collection, tell you some tales, give you a good hot meal under your belly, something away from all this noise. We can have ourselves a good chat. How would you like that? Would you like to be our guests?
I think that's excellent. Would love to.
Wonderful. I was hoping you would say that. Oh, I was hoping so. Well, we've extended our invitation, and we don't want to take your entire evening apart. So I think with all that, and Angus quickly wraps up that little picture of his and puts it in there, puts it in his tweed jacket, and he says, with that, I'll bid yourselves a wonderful night.
Patrick will hold up a hand. Wait, if you're wanting to, as he looks around a little bit, if you'd like to do business, we can organize a private room here.
Business? Asks Angus, innocently. But Dothy thinks protest too much. He says, what kind of business might we have?
Oh, we have a few services. I'm assuming that's why you've come here.
You know how it is, Angus says. You hear rumors and all that. I don't put a lot of stock in the rumors, though. Why don't you tell me how you could maybe help? Do you have information about poor Hugo?
Patrick shifts his chair a bit. Well, our services are not. Let's talk about all of this in another place.
Yes, I agree, says Angus. He says, suppose perhaps dinner at our place. We were going to give you just a small historical discussion, but perhaps something more interesting will be in our conversation. I'm very curious. I do have to admit, there are many rumors swirling about this place, many of them, and perhaps you can clear them up. Yes. And he looks over to Rose, and Rose, for the first time, gives this big, warm smile. And Angus mirrors it, and he says, maybe we can start a very, very profitable relationship. After all, we were robbed. It'd be nice to recoup our losses one way or another.
How much money was it that was stole from you again?
Oh, it was awful. Thousands of dollars. Oh, that was supposed to be a donation, too. But it's just money. We're mostly upset about poor Hugo. They could have just robbed us as long as they left our poor friend alone. But you can't bring him back from the dead, can you? Says Angus. And for a flash of a moment, you see an almost sinister look in his eyes. And then it goes back to his warm Scottish face.
Any prospects of a replacement?
Oh, I don't know. It'll be a long time. We're going to have the antiquarian closed for at least a few weeks for mourning and respect, and so the police can do a proper investigation. You never know what clues might be unearthed in those few days, and after that, I suppose I'll have to take up the mantle myself as floor manager, and we'll have to find someone we trust, like Hugo. Oh, he'll be irreplaceable, but we'll do our best and carry on. Well then, dinner tomorrow night. We're down 493 Cherry Estate Avenue. You can't miss it. This beautiful, beautiful estate. It's been in my family for generations. Nothing quite like it. And with that, Angus tips his head a little bit. Rose turns to her flat, placid face. Unless you guys do anything else. Do you want to do anything else?
Nope.
They seem to be pretty adamant at their place. I think I'm not going to push that as a person trying to be on their side.
Right, yeah. No, really, we insist.
Sure. And they will weave through the crowds and depart through the front doors. And soon after they leave, Yasmin moves up towards you and she says, I hope you don't mind, but I overheard that. And I do have to say, they sure changed their tone the second you came around. The past few hours they've been here, they've been antsy, they've been demanding, and frankly, they've been more than a little rude. They implied that they knew you really well. That's why I didn't have them thrown out. But something about you made them really change their tone. Yasmin pauses for a moment and she says, you know, the man, that gentleman, he sure talks a good talk. But it's the one, his wife, the quiet one, don't like that. People who are quiet like that, she says, it just gets my suspicions up.
Agreed.
And she gives a bit of a smile, and you know how suspicious I can be.
I've noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Yasmin.
Yeah.
I have a favor to ask.
Depends on the favor, but shoot.
Of your group, who's good at keeping an eye on a situation without being seen? We have to... There was an encounter at the graveyard. We expect them to try and cover it up. We need to try and see who and what does it.
Well, Basilisk and Ezex have their own talents, and although they can move pretty quiet, they tend not to have the attention for something like that. I guess you're looking at her. Yasmin's not bad at it either. She has the patience, but I don't know if you want her to go that far away from the Rhapsody. I'd be willing to keep an eye on it, let you know what I find out. And frankly, if we're talking honestly here, I've been sick and tired of being cooped up at this place. This is a weird place, don't get me wrong. But I'm sick of being babysitter to a nightclub. You understand?
I wouldn't go alone.
Okay, she says. She says, I'll take Basilisk and Ezex as well. They can provide some protection, and they can be quiet, and they will listen to me. In fact, she looks over to Al, I wouldn't mind having Jalea as well. our little group could use our own little, excursion. If you trust us, I can assure you, we've been through a lot. So she's not. She's in as safe company as she'll ever be.
Well, it's a bit of a strange dilemma, I suppose. The brother she knew wouldn't want her going anywhere near danger.
Yeah.
The brother I am knows that that's not my choice. So it's up to her. But keep in mind that what we dealt with tonight was some very...
It was fucked up.
I was like... It might reinforce her ideas about magic being evil.
Yeah,
but again,
is a bit of a smirk.
Again, I'm not trying to shield her from anything. She has to make up her own minds.
And don't eat anything that'll upset your stomach before you go.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Says Yasmin.
Also,
I do have to admit, you piqued my interest. Yeah?
Is Basilisk and Ezex going too?
Yeah. We're going to put the gang together, see what Jalea thinks, but I think that'd be good for all of us.
Yeah, I think so too.
We'll leave early in the morning and see what there is. I'm assuming it's just an observe and report type of thing, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, we can do that.
GM, the holy weapons, are they like my sharp? Is it only holy to me? If I were to give it to Jasmine,
they bless the weapons. They blessed you as well, but they bless the weapons. The
Al's gonna pull out a
spirit of light. Whatever.
Right. Al's gonna pull out a plastic dinner knife. I don't know how observant she is. I don't know if she knows much about it. Al's going to put it on the table and he's going to say,
just total crazy mode.
Yeah, I know. He's going to say the things that we've had to deal with, they are hurt very badly by the weapons that were, well, changed.
Yasmin pauses and she looked at the plastic knife and she says, they're hurt very badly by that.
He says, actually, no, he's behind the bar, right? So he'll take it as...
I guess you can be behind the bar if you want.
He'll take it in his hand, put it below the bar where she can see it, but like it's, not the general room. And he'll say, sharp.
Oh, says Yasmin as it transforms into a knife. Neat trick.
It's useful, and it hurts them very badly. I don't know how you feel about these kind of weapons, but it might be good to have just in case.
Magic's a tool, says Yasmin. We had this conversation back in New Laszlo.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, I'll take it.
I will turn it back to its... he'll turn it back to his its plastic form, and then he'll tell her sharp once to turn it into a normal knife, twice to turn it into something more powerful, 3 times to make it invisible.
I see, she says. That could be handy. All right, and she puts it into her pocket.
And he looks a little uncomfortable, and it's one of my most prized possessions.
She's wearing a dress. She doesn't have a pocket. She puts it in her purse.
Got it. Yeah.
Well, I'll make sure to return.
Tell her how to turn it off.
Yeah. I assume Al gives her all the instructions.
Yeah, we'll just say you give her the Cold Notes version. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I'm very nervous about this as a player.
So team Yasmin are going to do that, which is cool, which is really great. Gives them something to do, and I'll be able to develop them a little bit more.
Yeah.
But I think this is a perfect time to wrap up the session, don't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Great. Wonderful. Good stuff. Good session. Very eventful.
Yeah.
I like it. All right. Any last questions before we wrap it up?
I think I'm good.
I think I'm good. Yeah.
Squee, but why? The book did nothing.
What?
No, that's not... Well...
Black magic.
That was more in character than anything else. Al is firmly of the belief that, magic's a tool. Obviously, he knows it. But sometimes it's hard to shake how you grew up, and seeing what he saw that night. Yeah.
Like that is foul magic. That's the shit that the goddamn Federation of Magic would use to kill Coalition folks.
Yeah.
And like torment them. Yeah. No, that's completely in character, man. You didn't mean to reinforce that. You know what's in character, Squee, but you know what I mean. I'm backing you up.
Yeah.
But at least I'm grateful. At least he trusts Patrick. I mean, with his life. So he trusts Patrick to do it for the right reasons. But I guarantee you, anyone else probably wouldn't have.
Everyone else can go to hell.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe Tyrath, because what would he do if if Tyrath wanted it? He'd be like, "Sure, here you go."
Here's the thing. Like, I was just like, wait a second. Is Tyrath trying to get an all-powerful artifact to like kick more ass or some evil? I thought to myself a second more and go, if Tyrath wanted this, he would fucking take it.
Yeah.
You could say that about the Golden Rabbit too.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Sometimes I wonder. Honestly, I think what it is that Tyrath could go get it. But that's work, and he's busy, and he can't be bothered with it right now.
He has other, experiments that he's working on.
It's like we're his personal Roomba. Sure, he could vacuum the house, but why? He's got.
At some point now with Spiral with Lavin in the group, we gotta do another Tyrath special.
Oh my god,
that'll be fun.
We did it around Christmas last time.
Poe's gonna die.
Or was it?
By the way, sorry for laughing so much about Sharp. I actually didn't know it turned into a knife when you said Sharp.
Yeah.
So I'm picturing this beautiful mind situation where you're just putting a plastic table knife and you're like, what? Magic! Sharp. And it's like, okay, you're totally crazy.
Yeah.
Well, you know what? If he didn't do the Sharp thing, she was gonna just laugh and walk away. So it's lucky that he didn't.
I mean, that's one of the reasons why it's one of my favorite objects, because it's just a plastic. It looks
so
like something you get from. Yeah, it's like something you get from McDonald's.
Like a fucking food court. Yeah.
The modes on it are you say Sharp once, and it goes into a metal butter knife. Then you say Sharp twice, it's a vibro knife. Sharp 3 times, it's a vibro knife that's stealthed, that's invisible. Then dull is back to the plastic. So it's real cool. It's real neat that it has not only 1 but 2 ways of disguising itself. Even 3 ways, actually.
Yep. And it's holy. And the thing is, I'm nervous. I'm nervous about Julia going. I think I'm more nervous about giving that weapon up.
Yeah, you're pretty much screwed for the rest of the campaign if you don't have your holy weapon.
It's what Al would do. Yep. He wouldn't send them without something, because we saw time and time again, that's what hurts them. I mean, other things kind of hurt them, but that is,
Well, I know my fire sword hurt them, so if, Basilisk wants to borrow it.
Hey, Squee, just to throw that out there, could you, just do a small retroactive to be like, hey, there's this one good ghost, don't attack that one.
Yeah.
Sure, we can retroactive that. Yeah. We won't go back in session, but we'll say yeah. But you know what? If they're there in the morning, the ghost said that she thinks she's going to be around until the morning light comes, and then she's going to shuffle on back to wherever, right? So she might not even be there in the morning.
So what's a Tyrath special?
Oh, a Tyrath special is a meta thing. It's a game within a game. It's Tyrath playing a tabletop board game with the players. It's not canon, but he summons all the players together, and you make a character, and you would play it as Lavin playing a character.
So Lavin's going to make a Rift's character.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah.
The last time you guys went into the Tomb of Doom, and it was amazing.
It was amazing. Yeah. Al made a, and the thing is, we purposely try to be the bad stereotypes of GMs and players.
Oh yeah, Tyrath is a horrible GM. He'll railroad you. He'll throw monsters in you. He'll try to kill you. He's like everyone. He's like everything I'm not. I love it. It's very cathartic.
Guys, really quick, I'm gonna end the stream.
Oh, okay.
Right,
good night, everybody.
Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Don't forget to check out 3 Galaxies on Wednesday. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.